Hello and welcome to another stream. It's a beautiful Friday. It's finally the weekend, you know. It's finally for most of us the last working day of the week. So yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day. And yeah, today we will be checking out a couple of videos about RPGs and why they are dying, or are they dying? What is going on in the RPG genre? I actually don't know myself. I am really interested in it, and I played a lot, and I mean a lot, of RPGs back in the days, like Final Fantasy, Ion, basically all the free-to-play people games that were there in the MMO and RPG genre. And yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, we will check out what's going on over there. Maybe we can even find a reason why I stopped. I mean, I still enjoy RPGs. We played Clair Obscur, right? Is it an RPG? Does it count? So I don't know. The Witcher, maybe. I haven't played. I never played The Witcher. But we might be checking out the new one when it comes out. I hope we don't need a backstory check. Like, we don't need previous knowledge on it, you know. But yeah, there's not much to say. We have a lot of videos in front of us, and I will try my best to not pause so much today, especially because the videos are already like, in total it's like 3 hours, I think. Like the time, how long the videos are, and I have to get up early tomorrow. So it will be in my own interest to yeah, not do the Ryuwu things and stop the video like every 2 minutes. And then talk for 10. Like, this is probably not the way to go. So yeah, today I will try my best to not stop so much, and I hope you are fine with that. That the reaction today is a little bit different. So yeah, and just before we start, for the YouTube people, the links to all of the videos, so if you wanna watch it, I don't know, on your phone, on your what am I saying? If you wanna watch it later again, if you wanna send it to your friends, if you wanna, you know, give it a like, check out other videos of the channel, or whatever you wanna do, share it with your friends, share it with your cat, with your weather app. Then yeah, you just go a little bit down for a second, you know, in the YouTube thing, the description, and then you find all the links there. Okay, and yeah, with this being said, I would say we can jump right into the first video, which is from the Dear Vic Viz, a really nice YouTuber. He's unfortunately not posting that much. I think he's more active on Twitch now, but I don't watch him actively, so I cannot really tell. But yeah, he made the video What Went Wrong, Chivalry, Medieval Warfare, Mordau, I think I know, Mirage, and more. So he will deep dive into those kind of games. I really like those kind of games. I'm also a fan of Magic, but it doesn't have to have Magic elements in it, you know. Not necessarily. It's not like a basic requirement for it. Okay, but I'm talking too much, so let's jump right into the first video, which is already over an hour long. So yeah, as mentioned, I will try my best to not pause so much.
The official Chivalry Medieval Warfare servers shut down in April 2024.
Damn.
Mordhau had
This
its golden
is
age
last
before it
year.
descended into a place where role-playing as a French dwarf became a viable strategy to survive as a new player.
What have I done to deserve this from you, huh?
Mirage
What the
Arcade
heck?
Warfare took its name to heart, and now Chivalry 2 stands
Damn.
atop Regicide as its last major update, with No More Room in Hell 2 looking like a good excuse to make Chivalry the third. PvP
Why?
melee slashes, games that mysteriously break your monitor because you got 360 pan scoped.
Wait, what?
The multiplayer FPS
The heck
space for
was
the
that?
longest of time has primarily been about first-person shooters, glorified
Okay.
archery. But what about first-person swords? Well, Chivalry Medieval Warfare was the answer that I and many others found to that question all the way.
I mean, I have seen this game before, but I never played it. I have to admit. Mordhau, I think I played it, but I'm not sure.
Back in 2012.
I also played like what's the name? For Honor and these and things like this.
With barely a dent of experience compared to the legends of that time.
You got 400 hours.
Many fond memories, funny moments, and to be honest, salt
Damn.
came from this game. Originally, this video was going to be a nostalgia piece just for this. But then I started to notice some annoyingly similar issues in Mordhau
What
that
went
could have
so
been
wrong?
avoided. Then I began to recognize old habits that re-emerged and burnt those who stayed loyal to Chivalry 2. Habits that have the potential to pass over to a completely different game that is the manifestation of a, I kid you not, near 14-year prophecy. These aren't necessarily terrible games, and each one has a special place in my heart. But I can't help but notice that the ball was dropped quite consistently. And with a new wave of games coming to the show,
Are they already out? Are they already out? Let me check. Because the video is from 6 months ago. Renown, I think I saw before. I saw the last stream, we checked out our Steam thing, and I have a small update about that. I sold, I actually sold my CSGO skins, and magically the friend request stopped, so I'm happy now. I still kept, I think, 6 skins from CS that I just couldn't bring myself to sell. They are nice memories, and if I should ever get back to the game, then I want to have them with me. So yeah, I kept some skins, but most of them are sold, and now I have $40 on my Steam. Because yeah, I mean, I had quite many. It was probably the reason why those freaking bots kept contacting me on Steam, but now it's over. It's over. Okay. Oh right, I wanted to check. Renown, it is on Steam since the 22nd of September, and the reviews are mostly negative. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. Cash grab by the devs, they ain't doing nothing. Do not buy. Poorly executed. They work poor developers for their wages, so don't expect any progress on this steaming pile of... Okay. Oh, a German one. Leider kann man sich nicht mit einem Server verbinden, ständig kommen Fehlermeldungen, kauft dieses Spiel nicht. Kein Support, nix nix. Grottenschlecht. Okay, so he basically says the game sucks. Oh damn. And everything is like this, every review. Scam game, complete garbage, this game will go to nowhere. Scam game. Game is extremely unpolished. Yeah, okay, this is bad. This is not looking good. It's not looking good.
Genre, I feel like it's worth doing a retrospective. This isn't just what went wrong with Medieval Warfare. This is what went wrong with PvP melee slashers. And I'm Wicked Wiz.
We did play the VR game. What's the name? I think I uninstalled it actually recently. I needed some space for GTA, and then I uninstalled it. Or did I? Did I uninstall it? I think I did. I cannot find it in my library anymore. Well, yeah, there was a VR game we played. It's like, it was also similar. But it was really hard. I don't know if I want to continue playing it as well. Because of the difficulty. Like, I get touched by the NPC once and I freaking die. And then I touch him 10 times and he's still hitting on me. It's crazy.
Being a man of my word, standing here, about to get wrecked. This is the rough timeline of releases and relevant games involved in this retrospective. About 20 years, and each game has their own history that spans many rabbit holes.
Damn.
Some that go quite deep. Just to give you an idea, one guy made a 4-hour-long video essay covering mostly community drama and issues within Chivalry 2. Someone else made an hour's worth analysis on Mirage Arcane Warfare. Both great videos that deserve way more views.
I like the doggo.
So I'm going to set the bar here as more of an overview, a bit of a starting point. But even with that as a scope, there's a lot to go through.
So you cannot jump on a boat.
If I were to hypothetically, theoretically destabilize the economy in Oblivion with an Oblivion sword, one could call that a bit of a hack and slash situation, but there's not that much to it besides just swinging your weapon in a repetitive loop while holding block every now and then. With games like this, the weapon model itself doesn't really define when or where the damage is applied. Just aim, play animation in the general direction of enemy, and win. Warband is a notable step away from this with its directional combat system, where manipulating the journey of your attack and defense matters. It's a melee slasher, but generally speaking, most games back in the day with a focus on melee weren't so much geared towards directional combat. And while it's not a requirement for a melee game to be fun, the need for something more immersive was very much there. And that's where
this just made me want to play Sea of Thieves again. I saw that they are still pushing out content. I was thinking about playing it again, but I remember the last time we played it, something was wrong with the game. I don't remember what happened. But yeah.
Chivalry Medieval Warfare is different because weapons have real-time tracing. What that means is that any given blade or bonk has a lethal point of contact and an active hitbox approximating the model's dimensions that trace a line during the attack animation. Basically, the path of your weapon counts and the path ends when it makes contact with any given body part. Damage is then applied, and if well placed, you get a nice slice. Additionally, as a multiplayer experience, the player rig is the same in first and third person, so what you see in first person is pretty much what everyone else sees. Because damage is only applied when the weapon makes contact, manipulation of the weapon's journey can add a whole new level to combat.
So you can go closer. Wait, what if you do multiple contacts? Like if you are super close and then swing, you know, if you hit him like every pixel, it should be doing more damage, right? But is it doing the same amount of damage?
Accelerate an attack.
Or this. Okay, yeah, or you just made that 360. Yeah, okay.
Turn away to drag it out and delay. Then die by archer. It's Chivalry Medieval Warfare that pioneered this simple but effective combat system. In this game specifically, there are only 3 attacks: swing, stab, and overhead. Well, actually 4 if you include kicks that can disrupt the enemy, but pair that in with temporarily held parries and the ability to feint to cancel your attacks. Then you have what is known as psychological warfare, or just a combat system within a multiplayer setting that has a large skill curve. Brutally punishing, yet satisfyingly rewarding.
They just collapse. It's like they just despawn when they die. They just... Yeah.
There have always been medieval fantasy-style games out there, each with their own unique selling point, but it's hard to express just how special this one was. It had the grit of the era it was trying to emulate. It had a serious tone to it, and
I need to fix the tracking. I'm looking straight into the camera right now. I don't know what's going on. Shouldn't matter. There we go. Now I can be normal and look at the screen.
A natural slapstick comedy that was hard to rival. But this game isn't where the story truly began. No, because like all good things in life, this was just the evolution of a Half-Life 2 mod known as Age of Chivalry. About 20 years ago, in 2005, not too long after the release of Half-Life 2, a game I'm not going to spend 15 minutes explaining.
This is League of Legends, right?
Age of Chivalry began its development. It was pioneered by
what was the screen?
Co-founders Rykard Lindgren, Jeff Simmons, and Scott Chipman. In a nutshell, it provided a similar answer to what Medieval Warfare did later, but of course with heightened limitations. For a 2000s medieval-themed PvP mod, it's really impressive. There are a bunch of unique maps to explore, each with their own objectives to keep fights.
Wait, which game is this? Is this Gmod? No, Age of Chivalry. It looks like Gmod. Oh, maybe they just used the The source engine. Okay, never mind. Maybe they just use the source engine. This is a possibility.
It's focused. I mean, with this being a mod, if you wanted to, you can just fight in Helm's Deep. There are also multiple classes to master, each with their own unique flair. And looking at it, it's hard not to forget that this is a mod. Interestingly enough, the concept of dragging your weapon to hit multiple targets or manipulate attacks was also a thing back then. Although due to a lack of any dedicated animators at the time, animations were placeholder, and additionally, the trace lines were manually drawn rather than generated during the animation. But either way, they clearly found a gap in the market, as they achieved over 3,000 players within the first few days, and although they didn't really see any real peak till much later, it was clear that people wanted something like this. There's this interesting post titled 32 Maps Released.
Yeah, this must have been crazy for them as well, because back then the amount of games that existed was, you know, you can the amount of total game releases you can probably count on your hand. Like there were not more than 5 people or 5 games being released within like a month. So yeah. You could easily check out everything new if you wanted to.
And a reflection on Age of Chivalry.
And now it's like hundreds of games every single day. Most of them are probably AI by now, but you know what I'm saying.
Published in November of 2010 by Tiberius Bain, aka Steve Piggott, who later became the lead game designer at Torn Banner Studios. It's a long but interesting read about what went right, what went wrong, and the lessons learned before making their own standalone game. With also a
Wait, they made a document about what's good and what's bad?
bit of unfortunate foreshadowing.
Oh no, wait. Did they do something which was on the bad side, or what? Why?
If all else fails, you could just add zombies, as that technique seems equally effective.
What?
Is a comment I didn't expect to echo through time. But to get to the point, the TLDR of this retrospective is that they learned from the struggle.
Did they add a zombie mode or
of
what?
Making patches post-launch, wishing that they did more pre-launch in testing to basically avoid flames in the forum. They learned that the new player experience is crucial to get right to sustain growth. As cool as this mod was, it wasn't that easy to get into, because by
the old clan tags. I remember those times. Those were good times. Well, it sounds like I'm super old now, but back in my day, people still had clan tags, and you know everyone had like their TeamSpeak server, and then often, where was it? It often happened in the RPG games, like in the guild description, they were like, okay, enter this IP to join our TeamSpeak server, and then you join, and then you know. You were asked, they had like a, which game was it? I think was it Final, no, it was some other game. I remember I played some game for a long time, and they had, we also had like a TeamSpeak. It was super cool. Like we had like a waiting room, negotiation rooms, you know, because there were like different factions. And then if someone, you know, wants to negotiate, you know, everyone had like their territory in the game. So like on the map, like they were controlled things. And when someone, you know, wanted to go to your area, they actually joined your TeamSpeak, and they talked to staff members, guild members to you know, get to the area. And then they pay a small price to go to it, and then everything is fine. They don't get attacked, they don't get anything. And everyone had like those clan tags in front of their name, so everyone knows which guild or clan they belong to. This was also popular in shooter games. I don't know, is it still the case? Because I know in Counter-Strike, I think they use the Steam group. In the game, you can use like the initials of the Steam group as your clan tag or something. But I don't know, like in League they completely removed those things. In Dota apparently it's still there. That's what we learned in the last Dota stream, that they actually have a function for this, but it's only for Dota Plus. I played a little bit Dota today actually. Oh god, I'm sidetracking, I'm so sorry. I played a little bit today, and I also got some tips, and freaking Sheetan tagged me on Twitter. So yeah, maybe we will check out the game more. I learned a lot in like this 50 minutes or something that I played today. It's crazy. So yeah. Okay, back to the video. Enough sidetracking. I will try my best to not
By
pause
extension,
again.
another lesson learned is that players can get good at your game and will naturally create their own meta. One thing all developers will discover is that you don't truly know how broken your game is till someone starts playing it. Something they knew well that will remain a consistent design philosophy is the idea of including features that add value to the experience without impact on the actual gameplay. Candy is what they call it, and Jibs is basically what they're talking about. It's the little stuff in a game that gets people talking. This was a well-respected retrospective, and something honestly rare to see in this day and age when it comes to developers
This is the new Pokemon game.
owning up to
I'm sorry, but I have to hold myself back. I will never get a sponsorship from freaking Nintendo, but that's fine. I don't like them.
their own mistakes, and it won't
I like some of the games, but I don't like the company behind it.
be their last either. Chivalry Battle for Agatha was announced in May 2010 as a standalone game carrying on from Age of Chivalry. The project was later renamed to Chivalry Medieval Warfare, along with a rebrand of the company from Team Chivalry to Torn Banner Studios in February 2011.
But that's quite an upgrade in our logo.
Working on Unreal Engine 3 naturally freed it from the limitations that
I remember that movie. It was so
came
bad.
with modding.
Why do they have it like 10 times over there?
As already seen, the real-time tracing combat system was a unique selling point that drew many people in, as if the overall concept wasn't enough. This time, there are only 4 classes to choose from.
Archer, Man-at-Arms, Vanguard, Knight. Okay, that's okay.
To keep things simple. The Knight, Vanguard, Man-at-Arms, and Archer. Each class has their own inherent perks and weaknesses. Like for example, the Knight is quite slow but very tanky. The Vanguard is a bit faster and usually uses longer weapons. The Man-at-Arms is a bit more close range and fast. And the Archer be arching.
He's not arching.
With each class, there are a whole bunch of different weapons.
That's a lot of weapons
to unlock, and this time there are larger maps for larger battles, along with siege equipment like the ballista and what I like to call the send me home catapult.
Oh no!
Movement was also fine-tuned to a better standard that complemented
Pikachu, Sunny. I love those names. But this is in the source engine, everything, right? This looks exactly like freaking Gary's mod. Man, I really want to play Trouble in Terrace Town, but I need to find people who want to play with me. You know, I was thinking about making a server, but then I was like, I have a Minecraft server that needs probably to be finished before I start another project. And also the website as well. Can I show you what I'm working on right now? I will show you really quickly. No one will notice, okay? It's a 1-minute adventure. So this is currently the new talent page that I'm working on. You can see some things are still being optimized, but yeah, this is the new website. Most parts are already online, but I'm still working on other things. And yeah, like the About Us page took so long. Look at it, it's crazy. There's me, then we have this thing, we have like effects, and you can also spawn if you'd like these points on your screen. You can spawn a lot of them like this. Oh, you cannot see it, wait, like this. Whee! Okay, enough. I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
Optimized and immersive combat system. Before release, they set up a Kickstarter in order to get some funding for the project.
Back then, this was a lot of money. A lot. Wait, when was this? It's Source Engine. So if they are using Source Engine, it probably means that there was not much around back then. So I would guess this is like 2010 maybe? 2010? Maybe even earlier a little bit. So 100k back then would probably be the equivalent of, I don't know, 500k or something right now.
with
It's
the
a
goal
good
to reach
amount
over
of money.
50k, of which they surpassed, sitting at about 86, close enough to their stretch goal of customizable emblems that they
Damn.
definitely had more than enough money to implement later on. I remember missing out on the Kickstarter, and $25 for a copy or $50 for beta access included
Damn, those are prices from today.
felt fair enough for what was promised. Either way, upon release, this was a sight to behold, and this
It's
is where the
Kickstarter.
rise truly began before the fall. As someone who was
Damn.
around at the time it was released, I can thoroughly confirm that this was the right game for me. Cool, nice to know. Why does that even matter? Well, as much of a draw as the combat system was, the overall concept is easily recognizable and easy to sell. Big medieval battles in a PvP game. Call of Duty but with swords is what I would say to friends when describing it. At a glance, it's instantly recognizable as to what it is and what kind of fun it could offer. If the trailers weren't enough to get people hyped or curious enough to give it a go, then gameplay, montages, and funny moments might just be. Age of Chivalry may have been the first introduction for quite a few, but to most, medieval warfare was their first. For the people who were sold on the idea, charging into combat, getting hit, and occasionally poking back was enough to keep you going, regardless of failure. Yeah, so what if your KD sucks? You still remember the odd win here and there. You remember getting revenge on your first archer and
Damn, he's throwing that stuff.
making some kind of progress. It was frustrating in its own right, but hooked many people in. The hours would fly by. You'd level up and unlock new
This is crazy. You can make your the customization is crazy that you have in this game.
weapons with each class and get better over time. And hey, look at that. You're now level 16.
What? Wait, what? What does it mean? Level
The
16.
game on its own is very simple, but with how much freedom there is, the skill curve can quickly make a difference between the more casual and the more committed players. Without
Okay.
any kind of skill-based matchmaking, that difference can be felt even more so. And it's the solution
Too many low rank servers. Damn. What a screw job. I live in East Coast, USA. Not a backwater by any means. In terms of Western world population, it's pretty dense. The abundance of low rank servers with ping to me under 100 compared to no rank restriction servers is more than obtuse. What is obtuse? Low rank servers are cancerous. Damn. He is mad. They are hypocritical because it's mostly people who ranked up and simply bought the game again, which I'm sure the publisher lost. Why wouldn't they? If I run ping that isn't bad, I'm forced onto the same 3 or 4 servers. Doesn't matter game mode. What? Doesn't matter game mode? Okay. Full of the same people I get bored with or annoyed by. Official low rank servers are borderline scam. If I were cynical, I'd say they exist in their obtuse. He's using this word again. Overabundance to encourage people to repurchase the game. But that would start a flame war. Plus, I'm not that cynical anyway. Yet. Okay. Whatever the case, maybe for why they exist, there are too many of them. They are poison and pointless. Damn, he is mad.
to preempt this problem that
He's
unironically
mad.
became the problem. As a new player, you could join these low-rank beginner servers, where only those under rank 15 could join. And if you thought
Okay.
people wouldn't buy an extra copy of the game just to smurf those servers, you'd be wrong in thinking so. Now, there were a couple key issues that came with these servers that
But why would you do this? How much was this game? Wait, didn't they show? Okay, maybe they didn't show the price.
servers, you'd be wrong in thinking so. Now, there were a couple key issues that came with these servers that ultimately contributed to the rapid rise and fall of the player count. First is how it split the player base. When you've got new players sheltered within official beginner servers and pros waiting on the other side for people to get past rank 15, not only does the player base split, but also expectations. To be
Okay.
clear, new players could go into any unlocked server. It's just that most would rightfully start in beginner servers, as it seemed like a good place to start and get to grips with the game. But that brings us to the next point, because It wasn't. Just like any game, the longer it exists, the higher the average playtime gets for those who stick around. So of course, the longer it exists, the shock of going from low rank to any rank only gets worse. If you need some kind of visual evidence, this is the level 20 achievement.
Gather enough points to reach level 20. 4.5% of the players. Okay.
You know something ain't right when it's glowing at 4.5%. Clearly, reaching level 16 and getting locked out
Why
of these
not? Wait. Why not? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the game... I mean, it depends when this screenshot was made, but it's probably new, right? So there are probably a lot of people who got the game in a sale, played it for an hour, and then were like, okay, whatever. That's what I did sometimes.
servers caught many people off guard, and it's mainly because of the expectations that were set during the beginner server experience. New players wouldn't often encounter pro players who've developed a greater understanding over the combat system and its exploits. Fighting high skilled players was like being an extra in a scene against the main character, if that main character had insane core strength or just no respect for their spine. Now there's refined technique and depth to combat that the tutorial could never prepare you for. As an additional point for the low rank servers, they were typically better populated, especially after a sale compared to others. So to be honest, I don't really blame those who made the odd Smurf account. I would have too if I had the money, because I remember very well that sometimes it felt like you were locked off from most of the player base.
Yeah, so how much does it cost?
The combat system was amazing for what freedom it provided, but that freedom, the freedom to manipulate the journey of your weapon for when or where damage can be applied, naturally brought a lot of complexity to
it. Looks so funny.
Game with a combat system that, let's just say, wasn't perfectly made. Readability is everything. If I see you swing, then I parry, but I can only hold a parry for a short period of time. So your goal is to simply hit me when I'm not parrying, and one way to do that is to get me to parry too early. A simple way of doing this is to feint an attack and follow up with another. Things, however, get a bit more complicated when you start delaying or accelerating attacks to make someone parry at the wrong time or
look, they're just
in the wrong place. You see, the goal was always to trick the opponent, but it was the freedom to manipulate attacks that allowed advanced and difficult to read techniques to develop. While a simple drag looks fair enough, people get used to it, and it becomes less effective to more experienced players. Then of course, things evolve, metas form, and new or casual players find themselves at the mercy of a combat system that was already kind of rough, but now thoroughly exploited.
What the hell was that?
In a fairly short period of time, this game became less of a casual experience and turned into one that required more from you to compete. So it's no surprise that it struggled to thrive. And this is a common thread we'll see again. What annoyed people the most is that Tornbanner didn't seem to do much to improve things. Of course they did fix things and patch certain stuff, but they basically let the exploits become features. Features that only exacerbated the issue. To be fair, the foundations were probably a bit too shaky to patch stuff without potentially changing the entire thing. Sometimes a complete rework is needed. However, with that being said, exploits like the reverse overhead or the rainbow drag, which is a very classic example, could have at least been tackled in some way. It's a move where you turn your back to the opponent during the wind-up of an overhead to apply near instant damage on release. Although it was admittedly a satisfying thing to pull off, it wasn't favoured by many and only confused or broke immersion for new players. The lack of communication.
Okay. So you reach behind you and you use this moment where you are reaching behind you to get like a instant damage. Okay, I see.
That came with this, or the inaction to remedy key issues that were clearly contributing to the downfall of the game, ultimately began to create resentment towards Tornbanner. About 10 months after release, Tornbanner had something special to announce. The Deadliest Warrior DLC, where knights, Vikings, samurai, ninjas, Spartans, and pirates fight to the end. This was a really cool collaboration project with Spike TV's Deadliest Warrior series. If you've not seen the show, then you've definitely seen this clip. It was a show that blessed us all with what if Genghis Khan faced Hannibal, or if a Viking fought a samurai, or even just Mafia versus Yakuza.
I never heard of it.
The fact that they took on the IP to make a DLC where notable warriors from different time periods and settings go head to head was genuinely awesome. Unfortunately though, it wasn't
Damn. Oh my god.
that well received.
They
There
ripped
was a
this
different
game
pace
apart.
to combat. The night class didn't feel anything like the base game, and balancing was a bit of a miss. But many people, like myself, loved it for what it was. A fun vacation from the main game. It wasn't the most original concept. Pirates, Vikings, and knights has been around for a while. And it's not the first time where Spike TV worked with developers to make a game using their IP. It also didn't take
Oh, they didn't like it.
off as anything more successful than Medieval Warfare, but definitely tested the
He flew away.
waters for where things could go. If things would go anywhere at all, which they didn't. As fun as it was to be ninja and miss a shot as a pirate knowing full well you didn't have enough time to reload before you shivers get timbered, this DLC split an already shrinking community. It was basically its own
Damn.
separate
Really? But it looks cool. I don't know. I don't see the pain point. And it was temporary, no? Or were you able to decide? This would be even crazier then.
game with its own separate servers. But the sad part
Okay.
about it is that Torn Banner realized this, made a choice to stick with Medieval Warfare, and never properly communicated when support for Deadliest Warrior would end. It wasn't a standalone
Okay.
either. You had to own Medieval Warfare to even play it.
What?
So the barrier to entry on a financial level was also a drawback. Even today, with nobody online,
Damn.
they could drop the game, but never the price. This was a very successful game, and they made a lot of sales. But in the process, something quite important was lost. The decline can be illustrated in one image: the chivalry crossover with Dying Light.
I don't know. The Dying Light meme. There's a meme. I don't know how many. Maybe some of the dev channels already picked it up, but there's a meme that all the Dying games are going to collab with Dying Light. All the Dying games are going there. They're like, oh, by the way, do you want some new characters in your game? It's crazy. And it's kind of true, unfortunately, as well.
Posted on the 6th of December 2019,
Man.
well after its unofficial death. The irony that their last crossover was with a title quite literally called Dying Light is insane to say the least. But there are multiple layers to what went wrong between release and this unfortunate crossover. The surface level
Wasn't there also a PUBG collaboration? Oh no, this was the opposite.
issues at a
never
glance
mind.
come down to two primary
What? No,
things:
yes.
the lack of original content
No,
and
there was a
cosmetics
collaboration.
over concern. While they did add their own content, one complaint is that it wasn't
Damn.
in great supply. Everyone has their favorite map, but over time, even that gets old. And looking back, one could argue that it was the community that carried the way when it came to additional content. As with the release of their SDK, those with the passion and skill to make mods provided for some really cool content. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I joined a Star
Damn.
Wars server. That was insane. Probably some of the most fun I've had in a game
Did you see the Game Awards? I will not spoiler you, by the way, but there are some cool games that we will probably check out.
since. One thing that became very apparent was the talent within the modding space, so it was no surprise that Torn Banner decided to host a competition for more content. The Fortification Team Objective Map Contest. This was
Damn.
a partnering between Torn Banner, Steam, Nvidia, Logitech, and Foreshadowing to bring
Why foreshadowing?
talent together to design and create new maps that could later be added to the game, with of course the chance to win prize money as well as some additional products. In the end, it provided us players with 5 cool new maps, and I remember this event in particular bringing a lot of people back at the time. It was really nice to not only have a new set of environments to play in, but also nice to know that this was community made content. To play devil's advocate, working hard to create core content with no guarantee that you'll be paid or compensated did seem a bit cheap. You're basically getting a whole bunch of free concepts to pick and choose from rather than going through the typical process. But without trying to bring it down too much, it did seem to go well.
That's a
The
community
point
contest.
here, however, is that not much else was coming from in-house development. Even the store was mostly community driven, and this was a
Really?
sign that the foot was off the pedal.
Yeah, this.
You've already seen one of the crossovers, but crossovers did become their own sort of
Zweihander.
comedy and revealed the frustration many people had for where this game was going. Chivalry had its fair share of cosmetics, from
Wait, but this is Chivalry 1, right? So when will we jump to 2? Or is this 2?
from seasonal to things you can earn and things you can buy. But it wasn't until the 1st of May 2015 when they started doing crossover content. The first was with Depth, a unique indie game of its time where you team up with other
I think I played this. I'm not sure.
the divers against a shark while trying to loot some treasure. It's a well-respected
Did I?
game that has a really cool concept.
I
the
remember
crossover
the
was also
picture.
quite sensible and well received.
So there's probably more than one shark game out there.
In Chivalry, you'd get a shark-themed helmet and a weapon skin. And in Depth, you'd get a couple
like the
medieval
helmet.
skins too. What I quite liked about this one is that for Depth, they replicated the hilltop map, but put it underwater. Seems like a win-win all round. Both games are pretty cool, can share an audience, and players get something in return. A bit later in August, the Killing Floor 2 crossover was announced, then released in September, where if you owned both games, you would get some fleshy zombified weapons in Chivalry and a knight character in Killing Floor 2. But what I think confused most people was the Rocket League crossover.
What? Where is this even coming
This
from?
one was only announced 6 days after the Killing Floor 2 announcement, and thankfully it was just emblems. But already people could see what was going on. Torn Banner caught the flu of cross-promotion madness. Already there were core issues not being addressed, and it started to look like they were grabbing the bag before dipping out. I mean, the cherry on top for some was the Payday 2 crossover that was
What?
announced only 2 days after the Killing Floor 2 crossover. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't much of a surprise with how much stuff was added to that game. And I'll be honest, the night class in Payday 2 was fun to play, but by this point, an already sour taste started to become bitter. But if that feeling wasn't too great for PC, then let's take a moment to think about the console players. It was ported to 4 consoles in total across 2 generations in the following
Wait, but the collaborations were on Steam, right? So it's for PC only?
release order. And in summary, it was still a fun game, just a bad port. Whatever flaws and jank were on PC also came to console.
Oh, okay.
There was also no crossplay, so of course standards over time split between platforms. And over
Wait, if there's no cross-platform, why are they putting the stuff in there as well? Can you check if you own both? Huh, okay.
overall, the experience was significantly less enjoyable by comparison. Due to tech limitations, matches were smaller scale, capping at 24 players as opposed to PC with 40 to 60. The large-scale maps built for greater numbers on PC made online matches on console feel more hollow. But the thing that seemed to ruin it for most people were the server
What the heck?
issues. If you weren't hosting the match, lag and connectivity would be your main enemy. It's insane to look back at old reviews and see this in action.
Oh,
I
so
think
it's
what sucked the
player-hosted,
most is
okay.
that those on console, just like on PC, saw great potential, but due to Torn Banner's growing inactivity, never saw much hope for a future. Communication in general wasn't too great, and reassurance for if there would ever be anything like this again just wasn't really there. When it comes to the heart of it, the lack of communication, the lack of polish, and a failure to act upon what was driving players away ultimately accelerated the decline. Of course, there's the natural aging process, but things could have been better, and they know that. Typically, this part of the video is finding evidence to back a point, but not much is needed when they admit to their own failings. Similar to Age of Chivalry, Steve Piggott made a post reflecting on what went right and what went wrong. What went right in a nutshell was the game itself and the unique experience it provided. Nobody can say it's a terrible game or a perfect one either. There was just nothing else like it at the time. This was genuinely a great
Yeah, right, they didn't have competition.
game, and the frustration came from a place of seeing what you love turn to dust without a promise of any future. And in their retrospective, they admit to the issues that caused this feeling. Poor communication. They struggled to navigate the relationship with the community, failed to communicate the rationale behind changes, and went for long stretches without a sound. There was this fear of starting drama, seen before in Age of Chivalry, and arguably to a larger scale here. To be fair, it's not like they didn't try to
Whoa,
interact
this guy just got despawned. What was that?
and create a healthy relationship. It's just that the avoidance on certain issues caused resentment either way. They knew that they could have done better to explain the combat system in more depth within the onboarding process, and
Damn.
admitted that the low-ranked servers were a band-aid solution. They underestimated the issues that came with being able to drag your weapon, and the formation of exploits that came from this was admitted to be something that they should have fixed. When you look at it, you can see that this game was another step in unknown territory. This subgenre was new, and so were the unique challenges that came with it. Challenges that could have been better addressed. By 2015, it was already showing its age, and real change would likely require a complete rework. When that becomes the question, the solution is
So they made that. So this was all the first game.
usually something new. They were working on something during 2015, but unfortunately by this point the damage was already done. And even after admitting to their mistakes, praise was now given to their new competitor.
Mordau.
2015 was a turning point for the PvP melee slasher scene.
Is it Mordau?
Wasn't yet a thing, but its predecessor, quite simply known
Project
as Project
Slasher,
Slasher, was,
Okay,
and
it's
was
not-
also in the process of early development.
Why does it say create Vegas?
Everyone by this point basically wanted a Chivalry 2, but unfortunately that wasn't in Tornbanner's best interest at the time, because before Project Slasher could become anything more than a test level, a massive flop was in the process. This is
What?
Mirage Arcane Warfare, and it was the self-proclaimed spiritual successor to Chivalry. Immediately you can see the contrast in aesthetics. From a dark, gritty medieval world to a magical Arabian Nights Persian-themed wonderland. It's a genuinely beautiful art style with the purpose to improve
Yeah, it
readability
looks-
for what is
looks
essentially Chivalry, but also magic. Development likely started soon after Chivalry's release, and although it's not easy to pin down exactly when, the crossovers make a bit more sense now. The melee slasher combat system was very much there, but alongside it was also magic and a sense of verticality. There were 6 classes, and each of them had their own unique set of abilities. Although Chivalry had their own unique classes, here it was clearly geared more towards
Do we have supporters? For what? For healing? So they will just run after people all the time and heal them, or how does it work? Because I maybe I'm missing the thing, but I cannot imagine that you can heal that much because without it being too OP, you know,
forming synergy between the
or having battles of 2 healers and 2 fighters, and then it's going on forever.
team rather than just picking what you vibed with the most. Team objective was
Okay.
smaller scale to support this, and it doesn't take a genius to see where the Overwatch comparisons came from. The mix of magic and melee added many possibilities when it came to combat. It was a cool concept, but one that naturally struggled against a more familiar format. If you're looking for a competitive game to get into, is it easier to jump into an FPS that you already understand, or jump into a game with a very different combat system to what you're used to? The only people who already understood the melee combat system side of things were the Chivalry players, but this to
Yeah.
many, including myself, was an unexpected surprise. It seemed like a fun game to play, and those who found their place with it enjoyed the ride. It was just something a bit too different to its own benefit and to the dismay of those who again just wanted Chivalry 2. I'd never
Yeah.
wish for hard work
Makes
to go
sense.
down the drain, but unfortunately for this, it really did. From announcement in March 2016 to its release in May 2017 and ultimately its removal from Steam in May 2018, it was a surprisingly quick and quite consistent run. Part of the reason for its removal comes down to the GDPR compliancy issue. I'm not going to
Wait, what?
turn this into a GDPR lesson, but it stands for General Data Protection Regulation.
Did it sell the data?
It's an EU law with mandatory rules for how organizations and companies must use personal data in an integrity-friendly way. Basically, if you weren't GDPR compliant by the time this regulation came into effect, you were about to get EU'd. According to this,
Whoa.
they ran out of options for keeping Mirage alive, and the
Didn't
hard
have to
truth
do
is
us
that
like
it
this.
wasn't a successful game. The player count struggled, the sales were low, and
Well, I don't know. I think for a game that is like... Is it the first game is the question. If it's the first game, it's not that bad, you know? And how much money went into it? This is another question. If it's like you need the game, like 7 players per day, it's not bad. It's not good either, you know? But it's like, if it's constant, then at least you can... You know, okay, there are people who like this kind of game. Maybe you can participate in some Steam sales. You can, you know, do some collaborations with other people, like magazines, and be like, hey, guys, if you, I don't know, subscribe to their newsletter, then you can get the game for free. and then you get like a free promo post or something, you know? Yeah.
Even with a free weekend, it couldn't sustain much popularity. It'll come up again later, but by this point, they were already working on Chivalry 2 and had secured funding from Epic Games.
Oh.
This wasn't just a loss of product, but also a loss of time, as
Wait. Okay,
they had to
no,
act
it's fine.
fast because competition in the medieval combat
store
space
didn't
was
exist
closing
back then
in
yet.
fast. To many people, Mordhau was basically Chivalry 2. Updated graphics, refined mechanics, and even more slapstick. What went wrong with Mordhau is unfortunately a similar story in an arguably more frustrating way, and there's a reason why you'll see this image floating around every now and then.
Same reason any game like this dies. Players optimize the fun out of it. The remaining experts then get bored of fighting the same few guys. Yeah, makes sense. And no new players stick around as the expert drive them out.
What makes Mordhau interesting is that it was the natural evolution of this type of game. It was made primarily by Chivalry fans from the competitive scene, and with that came an acceptance and appreciation for the complexity behind the combat system. Marko Grigorovich was the pioneer behind this, and you'd be mistaken in thinking that he was some kind of full-time dev just giving this a shot. Apparently, he wasn't, and most of the team lacked any real background in development prior to this. A lot of this was driven by the love for Chivalry medieval warfare, but also in spite of it. There was this aspiration and desire to fix what didn't work and bring the genre forward.
Wait, but
even
isn't it making it worse?
when this was just a simple Unity proof of concept, people could already see that it had great potential. During 2015, it was remade on Unreal
But
Engine
he was doing the tricks again. The weird tricks with, you know, spinning your character.
4 and renamed to Mordhau, with their first devlog posted on YouTube in December that year. The group behind it fell under the banner of Triturnion, and now things started to look real.
Okay.
And they say Chivalry's dead!
As we already know, Chivalry had its issues with readability thanks to the inherent jank that comes with dragging attacks and, by extension, the ability to exploit. So
Yeah.
naturally, the key focus with Mordhau was to improve readability, keep fights more face-to-face, and maintain a greater sense of fluidity as well as legitimacy. Just like in Chivalry, you can stab, swing, and overhead. You can also feint, parry, and kick. But instead of just copying Chivalry's combat system and calling it a day,
The kick seems to be really important everywhere. Why is it everywhere? Maybe because it's an easy thing to implement?
they built upon it. Firstly, you can angle where the attack comes from depending on where you aim. You can also morph attacks, which is basically changing the initial attack to another
I'm pretty sure I played this.
within its wind-up. If you were to attack immediately after a successful parry, you'll perform a riposte. Instead of just parrying, you can also mirror your opponent's attack to chamber through and change the initiative. It's a higher skilled move, but adds more flavor to combat with zero cost to your stamina.
Damn.
This game is called Mordhau for a reason. The ability to change how you hold your weapon was a unique selling point that brought more to the table than just hold sword by the handle. A sharp blade may be better against lighter armor, but the Mordhau grip, where you hold the blade, provides a great blunt force alternative.
Okay, isn't it a little bit sharp if you swing it like that?
Against heavier armor. Customizability was a big draw for many people. The concept of this game is that you play as a hired mercenary. You're then paid gold based on your performance and attendance. Gold that can be spent on a store full of many weapons, armor, and equipment. Instead of fixed classes, you make your own. You're given a set amount of loadout points, and each item or perk costs a certain amount. This, in a nutshell, provided a lot of freedom, but also allowed for some balance. If you want to run around in heavy armor to tank more hits, but also want to swing along halberds, nice, but you're slower, have no perks, band-aids, or throwables. If you want to be a half-naked man, go for it. You're now faster, you can hold more stuff, even more perks, but you better be good at the game, because...
Yeah, you will be one-hit.
The game was great at marketing itself. It looked fun, you had the freedom to mess about, and who wouldn't want to give the funny medieval game a go after seeing that you can gain immunity as a bard? What Mordhau had to offer was very good, and if evidence was ever needed for how much hype this game had, the Kickstarter sitting at around $300,000.
Damn, they got even more.
With one God Emperor supporter,
10
is definitely an example.
Whoa, what the hell?
This Kickstarter was from March 2017. They broke well past their goal and managed to hit their stretch goal of competitive matchmaking for 1v1 and 3v3 duels. The whole point of this was to simply work full-time on the project and deliver something more polished. When the game finally released on the 29th of April 2019, they weren't quite prepared for the turnout. With over 60,000 players, a peak they'll never reach again, they had to ask their provider for all available servers.
Damn.
And with that, learned very quickly that fixing issues under pressure whilst also maintaining customer service isn't easy.
Yeah. I remember when I worked with Rito, there was one day, I think it was on the EU servers, but all the EU servers were not working for several days. I think it was in total 2 or 3 days they were not working, and oh boy, everything was burning. Like everything was burning. And we found the fix in the end. Because of my NDA, I can probably still not say it, what happened. But I can tell you, it was so stupid. It was such a stupid mistake. I cannot believe it. Oh my god. But yeah. We answered a lot. Enough that I had to step in as well and answer tickets. I made all the easy autoresponders on that day. I remember that in like almost all languages. How much did I had? And I think I made about 2,000 or 3,000 responses per hour at that time. It's crazy. It was really crazy.
General reception of the game was good. If people didn't already love it for the brutal combat, they loved it for the comedy. And content around it was, as you can see, pure gold.
Damn.
Yes, there were noob lobbies, and Chivalry pros did have the edge, but everyone was still figuring things out together. It was a fairly equal playing field. Until, of course, it wasn't. There are a few overarching things that contribute to the fall of Mordhau. Accessibility, content, and apathy. If you've seen any the state of or what happened to style of videos for Mordhau, accessibility comes up every time. It's an issue that every person I've had the privilege to talk to brought up as well, and it appears to be the main reason why the player count would die quickly after a free weekend or some kind of content update. But if this was made by Chivalry players, and Chivalry clearly struggled with this, then how on earth did Mordhau? Well, one thing to remember is that this game was made by competitive players who still wanted there to be a skill curve to climb. And they developed a combat system that was admittedly built for more intimate fights. A lot of what was advertised were duels, and whenever it was a large skirmish, it seemed kind of clean. But in reality, things get chaotic pretty quick.
Yeah, people like to run into each other. Yeah.
With a deeper combat system, complexity is difficult to understand in the heat of the moment. Simply put, there's more to learn, more to put into muscle memory, and with the natural...
What's this guy doing? Look at him, he's just standing there, doing a freaking T-pose or something.
Optimization of how best to use said combat system, those who got good, got very good by comparison to those just starting out. And as a result, I'd argue that Mordhau's skill gap grew much larger than Chivalry's. But unfortunately, similar to Tornbanner, Triturnion didn't do much, if anything, to bridge that gap. So as the player count shrank, the density of more dedicated and experienced players intensified. Although still a fun game with many hours well worth playing, this decreased the likelihood of new players sticking around as they found themselves in the deep end, with a mountain to climb and not much in game to help.
So what are those people then? It seems like there were some regular players. So other than like 20 people, they meet like every day around the same time, and all they do is like fighting, logging off, going to work the next day, and then do the same thing again. Okay. Well, it wouldn't be for me, but okay.
The onboarding process is a crucial step in building a relationship between the game and a new player. It's a process that provides an understanding between the objectives,
You got a freaking horse!
Mechanics and systems in place so that said new player can get involved without feeling helpless or confused. While this is done passively and sometimes taken to the extreme, a tutorial is usually the first introduction. Mordhau has a tutorial, it's okay and it serves its purpose, but doesn't go any further than surface level concepts.
It's only basics.
They don't even show you how to actually drag your weapon. The concept is mentioned and shown by the instructor, but that's all the depth you're gonna get. This is such a core concept concept that you need to learn early on, and I'm looking at this as of today. There's no real training ground or test level to practice well-known moves or anything to actually teach the player how to get to that higher level of skill. There's no visible path to progression. Did you know that this game has a turn cap, that when you attack, your sensitivity, including DPI, doesn't even need to be that high? Because even if you can turn 100 times per second, that doesn't change the speed of your attack. Well, we won't tell you that, and as a result, you may suffer more than those who turn their default sensitivity down, because unlike a shooter, it doesn't need to be that high. Did you know that many medium to pro players don't even use anything close to the default keybinds, or bother to angle their attacks using their aim? That there are just some more straight up optimal ways to play? Well, you may assume so, but that's subjective, and we won't recommend any layout options to help you maybe get on the same page or just
Is he okay?
even try something that may better suit you. No, you can figure that out yourself. These are
Damn.
just some basic things that I learned after trying out some coaching with Stouty, a prominent voice in the community who's been around since Chivalry. In fact, one of the first things we did was just go through my settings, and immediately I noticed that I was playing better than I ever did before. Obviously not that great, 26-0 to a naked man. But it became very clear to me in this moment that it's the game itself that feels like it's hiding information from you. All the training tab has is a 15-minute tutorial. That's it. The rest is on the community to provide guides, and even though they made one of their own, there's no link to it anywhere. As playtimes increase, the gap between introductory and pro gets wider. And Tritonion basically left the bridge building to the community. The content situation on the surface isn't as wild as what happened with Chivalry's crossovers. The main complaint, however, is that there wasn't much new content, and what did come out took too long. Sounds like me. But looking into
Well, yeah.
the content development.
Wait, when is the last video? When was this last video? Yeah, okay, this is the last one actually. Yeah.
Development itself reveals a deeper line as to what went wrong. In a nutshell, Tritonion's focus for new content was geared more towards large-scale team objective, and no matter what they released, they never properly addressed the growing skill gap. These games have two types of players: those who just want to jump into a big battle without much to think about, and those who vie for more competitive play. For simplicity's sake, I'll split these two into casual and competitive. Neither is an indication of actual skill or level. We're looking into preference of game
Damn, what a shot! Did you
and
see
how
that?
Tritonion managed to alienate one side while trying to accommodate for another. Casual players like myself are attracted to big battles because the pressure for the individual player is spread much thinner. You charge in, maybe get a kill or two, and then a nice view of your hand. It feels like the blame is less on you and more so the chaos of the situation. The intensity is there, you will get outplayed, but you don't have to be a pro to do alright. Most new players find themselves here. It's the big draw and the big selling point. But a problem from the very start was the lack of any skill-based matchmaking. Without it, the skill gap grew pretty quick, considering also that Chivalry veterans were already accustomed to the core combat system. While this applies to everyone, casual players who took a break would come back to a game where the bar to compete was unanimously raised.
So it's basically like League of Legends.
For new players, it was a deep end, but for anyone coming back to check out new content, it was a game of catch-up against those with hours far beyond your reach. It's not that the new content was bad or jumping back in was complete hell. It's just that they simply created content that would appeal more so to new and casual players without also considering the player experience from onboarding to returning. Just to throw it in there, there's no anti-cheat or never was to my knowledge, or DDoS protection, so add that into the mix.
Yeah, this is not good. This is not
Obviously,
good.
skill-based matchmaking on its own wouldn't have stopped the gradual decline, but may have helped to keep the game a bit more alive for longer. If it was implemented today, it would just split an already small player base. Competitive players are the type of people who can feel the changing tick rate of the server with every refund caused by the swing of their sword. These are the more involved players within the community who vie for a higher stakes challenge and mastery of the combat system. Dueling and intense smaller scale fights appeal more to this type of player. 1v1 and 3v3 ranked duels are the only game modes to accommodate for this. And unfortunately both were released quite late in development as part of their stretch goal. But that's all there is. It didn't even occur to me that these game modes have their own skill-based matchmaking till watching Doshington's post-mortem analysis. The game modes themselves are rather dry in the way that it's quite literally just
The blood on the body of the characters is crazy. Did you see this?
analysis. The game
Look.
modes themselves are rather
He's
dry in the way
hitting him,
that
and then he dies, and he immediately freaking explodes. What the hell? He's actually freaking exploding.
it's quite literally just fighting in an open arena. Earning a rank is cool, but minus private servers, that's all the game really offers for the competitive scene. There's no 5v5 hardcore team objective mode where you have to rely on team synergy to, I don't know, secure the bomb.
What just happened?
The end game
nice.
is basically one of two things: achieve a high rank and or become a demigod on the battlefield. A demigod that over time must eventually face other demigods while mere mortals count their fingers. So of course,
This sounds awful.
when new large-scale team objective content is released, yes, there'll be new players, especially if there's a sale, but obviously everyone else is going to join in to check it out.
But how are the servers? Because I remember the Chivali one, they had like new servers, like noob servers, you know. So is it the same thing?
Including those from the competitive scene, because
What the
what
heck?
else is there new
Freaking Snow White hitting you.
to do? Some new players may stick around, however, most will
That's it.
leave after realizing that getting to a similar level of skill just to have a chance
Yes, you're just
requires a
standing
lot
there
more
throwing
effort
stones all
than
the
they
time.
initially expected.
And
You
they
can
die.
say get good all you want, but the truth is that most people can't be asked, at least to that degree.
Okay.
In a comment by the CEO
Whoa.
posted not too long after the game's release, it's confessed that this was basically a game built for slower, smaller scale fights rather than larger, chaotic battles. But they switched focus to larger scale and caused an identity crisis. Even though they understood this, there was never a change in this direction, as I guess it seemed like the hole was already dug too deep. So yeah,
Okay.
basically a game made by competitors.
But why didn't they could have done it slowly, right? Like, I don't know how many players are playing, but like from 32 to 28, for example, being like, it's already making a big difference, I would say. Like 4 players less, it can already make a difference. And then you can, if it didn't work, you can, you can do it more, or but you check out the impact, do people like it? How is it? And you can even afford more servers like that. Can you believe it? It's a win-win.
Competitive players for smaller scale skirmishes that was scaled up and ultimately attracted an audience that they didn't accommodate for, while also not really accommodating for the audience that stuck around. The most recent content update is Demon Horde, a
Hey, it's still active.
co-op zombies-like experience, which on its own is actually pretty fun. This has always been considered a PvP first game with PvE options, and as cool as this is, you can't help but feel that it's a contingency plan for when the player count finally hits the floor.
Yeah, you can always add zombies, right?
If demand for something isn't met, then the community can step in to provide mods. But that requires modding support. Modding support that didn't arrive till over 2.5 years after launch. While it wasn't impossible to make mods without this support, a healthy modding community is quite difficult to establish well after its prime. What I
Yeah.
heard from people deeper in this side of the community is that when modding support actually arrived, it ironically broke compatibility with existing mods, making it less so support and more like a pain in the arse. It's also worth mentioning that the in-game mod downloader
6 gigabytes. What? For what?
which is basically the only way you can download mods, is very slow regardless of how fast your internet speed is. So not only did this not help the community, but also left a lot of people sitting there waiting for their favorite servers to be fixed, only to wait longer to re-download the mods. Due to how slow it was, mods had to be limited in scope to reduce size, only adding further limitations. The whole purpose of modding is to give the community an opportunity to bring to life ideas that would otherwise never be tried by development. Yet here, it just wasn't great. The issues of accessibility, the identity crisis that ignored the player experience, and the reluctance to bridge the skill gap pretty much explains why the player count never saw growth. But it's also worth considering the topic of toxicity. Outside of the odd shit talk, it's a fact of life that PvP games can foster toxicity that can go too far. There are levels to it, and it's always subjective as to how much each level impacts a player. Some people care a lot, some people don't, and some people thrive on it. With melee slashes being such a visceral face-to-face experience where you can see your ass getting handed to you, where egos are formed and
Good luck. Block that.
challenged,
Wait, what?
most will agree that there needs to be some
Fixed game.
barriers set in place. Focusing on just the in-game experience here, Triturnion didn't account for much. For a good while, there are no basic filters for chat, still
It's boring to stop spam. They are something. Is there anything wrong with being something? Everything something. This is censored, right? Or is it? No, I think he just wrote everything and then there was nothing there. I don't know.
no options in-game to report, and some server names, yeah.
Wait, what? What was the
There are
name?
no options in-game to report, and some server
Stetma. Bro.
names, yeah. Games can earn reputations, and regardless of opinion, that can have an impact on
Crazy.
the customer's decision,
Crazy
whether it be
people.
before or after a purchase. Triturnion as a small team only made it harder for themselves by not preparing for this, whether it be by design, naivety, or a lack of foresight. If you saw anything about Mordhau back in the day, then you've probably seen this
What the
montage
hell
of
was
Giru
that? He was
turning what was
swimming on
meant
the
to be a
ground.
serious tournament into pure content, running around with a pan and winning fights with a training sword. It was funny as hell and brought so many new eyes to the game. Along with other examples, it promoted it for what it was. A game where you can get so good that you can mess about with money on the line and win by throwing rocks. But it wasn't taken that way by Triturnion. There was this sour taste towards the idea of potentially supporting that behavior. There was the opportunity to capitalize, generate further exposure through content made about it, but they decided not to take that opportunity or
Why
invest
not?
further into the competitive scene, leaving another thing for the community to carry. Crush is a prominent name you'll see throughout.
It's free content. You can even make an event out of it. You see it on social media, it gets hype, and then do an event like, I don't know, the one with the most stone kills in a match gets a stone skin. I don't know, something, you know.
Thrown around. He was one of the developers,
Oh,
and
Or if you kill 10 people with stones, then you get something in the game.
one could
You can
say
make
that
it
he
something
was
cool.
a red-blooded chivalry player.
Opinion, what's worth? Is it worth
What the
100
heck?
players leaving but 100 players buying the game?
What the
I
heck?
think you should eat some broccolis to raise your testosterone.
Do you
You sound like
okay,
a
honestly,
What is this? Why are there... Okay, it's fine.
though, are you gonna answer the question? Do you think 100 new players is better than losing 100?
You sound like the dog in your picture, dude. Why the fuck do you even speak to me?
He played a large
What the
part in the
heck?
balancing side of things, and of course, this is going to cause
Wait,
flames
this was a death?
whenever something has changed. There would be frequent disagreements, and for better or worse, it would be Crush backing the decisions. There was this sentiment that if he or other developers weren't good with a certain weapon, then it's going to get balanced. And there's a lot of flack
Yeah.
towards this dev in particular for multiple reasons. Justified or not, fact or fiction, the truth is that he was eventually the only one facing the crowd. At some point, the other developers went silent, and the only way for the core community to get through to development was via Crush. The impression given was that the other
Damn.
developers switched off and only wanted to focus on their own
I think I heard about this guy before. Wasn't he the guy? Or was it him? There was I heard something about his name, and like he doesn't give a damn about his community basically, and he made like posts against his community. Wait, didn't he just explain that actually? Okay, fair. But yeah, I think I heard about it, but not so much.
set in stone checklist. Community concern
Like basically you were in terms of, okay, you were on an event and then you heard someone saying something about that in the table next to you, you know.
And speed out. There was an arrogance to communication. It felt like they figured everything out and did all that needed to be done. That anything else would be pointless, that this is just how things go. The game gets old, the player base drops, and pros scare away new players whenever content is added. And that's just how it is. In reality, this was a small team of first-time developers releasing their first game, but what makes this story frustrating for some is that Chivalry was the example to go by for what to do and what not to do. However, they only managed to replicate the lack of communication, the alienation, and avoided core issues that drove players away before it was too late to fix them. It's easy to get heated about it, but what Tritonion did well is bring the genre forward by innovating the combat system and inspiring others to take their own path, even though that may be out of frustration for what wasn't done. Mordhau isn't a terrible game and you can still have a lot of fun with it. Is there a future for it? Nah, probably not. It was a game that started off with a lot of promise, but was ultimately not steered in the best direction. The scale of failure with Mirage was total, and to be honest, without it, Chivalry 2 probably wouldn't have come out the way it did. Because after such a failure, Torn Banner had to reassess themselves, take on the fact that things went really wrong, and that they had to change the way they were doing things. They've always been a fairly small team, and going from mostly modders to on-site developers working on something different came with its own set of challenges. Challenges that had to be faced at some point or another as the company grew. As you already know, development began sometime in 2017. It was then later revealed at E3 in June 2019, with of course reception being mixed, as one could assume with Mordhau's prominence at the time, as well as a scarred reputation. It was in October that year when they reflected on what went wrong, and by this point, Mordhau was still going strong. One thing that already put quite a few people off was the Epic Store 1-year exclusivity agreement.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, people were not like that.
When the game was set to sit in the Epic Store for about a year before moving out to other platforms like Steam. The word sellout has been used to describe this, but in all fairness, it did seem that Mirage really took its toll. To make something bigger and better than before, they needed investment. In their own words, they decided to go down this route to take things to a whole new level that wouldn't be possible without this partnership. 2020 was the planned year of release, but as you can imagine, development timelines had to shift in order to achieve scope. But thankfully, they managed to release the game on the 8th of June 2021.
Wait, that's not that bad. Well,
2021. Not only was it released on PC, but also for multiple consoles, each supporting.
Also, I think actually the Epic Games release is not that bad. You don't have user reviews, I think, there. Or do you? But I think it's not that bad because they can use the year to fix things, to make the game better. And then they can go on the Steam release and be like, oh, look, it's a finished game. It's a cool, good game based on community feedback or something.
In crossplay, and with that came a much wider net that apparently captured 250,000 players within the first hour. Content creation followed the usual procedure, as a lot of big name creators jumped on it for about a week or so, and largely speaking, this game was a big success for what it was. It introduced a lot of new people to the PvP melee slasher scene that have enjoyed the ride regardless of quite a few bumps.
Yeah, it's no longer on Source Engine.
Minus some resentment from the past, heated opinions towards the direction of the game, the way certain things were handled, and community drama that can spark the creation of a 4-hour-long video essay, the game did pretty good. And now it's sitting on retirement support, waiting for a nightmare to pass. There's one thing in particular that Chivalry 2 did quite well, and it's how it lowered the bar to entry. The tutorial will take you through everything you need to know, showing you a video example before getting you to perform the action yourself. You're actually shown how to drag your weapon and why it's important, first on clearly defined targets, then on a test subject. You can see that they wanted you to get the idea in your head. They show you the simple but easy to forget concept of timing your strike while running towards the enemy. Similar to Mordhau, they have counters, which are basically easier chambers where you hold block and quickly respond with the same attack. And yeah, you heard that right. Instead of a timed parry, you can just hold up your weapon to block at the cost of stamina. This on its own is a much more simple concept to grasp, especially for new players. That can still be punished by pros. Again, similar to Mordhau, you can riposte by blocking and attacking straight after. With the consideration of large battles and the likelihood of being outnumbered, a successful riposte can deflect incoming attacks,
Man,
increasing your
this looks really good.
survivability and providing the sense that
actually
you've
looks
got a
really good.
chance. Overall, I'd say that the Chivalry 2 combat system brings the bar to entry much lower, and that was clearly the aim, because the market is there, but the tricky part is getting people to feel comfortable enough to stay. After the
that's
tutorial,
always the tricky part.
you pick your faction and then are thrown into battle against some bots. With this, immediately the player can try out what they've just learned against AI that won't try any advanced techniques. Fighting against bots isn't anything new, neither are offline games, but of course the push makes the difference. There was also more of a push to increase the pace of battle. For example, when
Schotomate. I'm sorry, I need to stop real quick because, well, not stop, but I'm going to another site real quick. I'm going to Twitch. I just looked over and I saw that the ad break is almost 3 minutes long. How is this possible? I already got them almost at the minimum. Schotomate. Creator Studio. I'm gonna turn them as low as possible right now, at this very moment. Where is it? Ads. Here. Okay. I found it. How many minutes? Yeah, I want less. Wait, I cannot move it more. What? They changed? Oh my god, they changed the way. I can't fully adjust it anymore. What? Okay, I think this should be fine. 1 minute every hour. That should be okay-ish. What the hell? What the hell, Twitch? Why are you not letting me do what I want with the ads? I would... Pre-roll ads... No, how can I disable those? Pre-roll ads, disable. Okay, I already disabled them, so it's fine. My goodness, Twitch. It's actually crazy. This platform is just... Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
When you respawn, you're already charging in the
Crazy.
direction of the objective. The game is actively leading you to where you need to go. Not to mention that you may join a battle that's just about to start, and from the very beginning are faced with the opponent. Instead of waiting to try and find the enemy, you've got these intro cinematics that kick the game off, which are pretty cool, even if that means you're a simple farmer learning very quickly what an invasion looks like. To keep players in the fight for longer, there's the chance that you can get downed and picked back up again. Visual indicators for successful actions are more visible, and in the heat of combat, that can help. To be fair, it does give a bit more of an arcadey feel to it, but all in all, this is a much easier game to get into for people who are new to this genre. A lower bar to entry doesn't mean that there's no skill curve. There is a competitive scene, there are exploits, and pro players can easily dominate the field. It's just that the skill curve is less steep to start with. Although with all that being said, it is worth mentioning that this game didn't have skill-based matchmaking till much later, and
oh no, I already know where this is going. And I'm not a fan of it.
when it did come out, it somehow managed to do the opposite. But overall, they did do better in the accessibility and onboarding department. So then, what actually
Oh, people were smurfing maybe.
went wrong with Chivalry 2?
Yeah,
Well,
what happened?
to be honest, for the casual player, not too much. But if you zoom in, things get a bit disappointing, and clearly some old habits die hard. First off, as a small reminder, Tornbanner was still a small team when they started working on Chivalry 2. And as a small team, we can't build that forever game, Lofstrom says in an interview with Rock Paper Shotgun. The intention was never to make something that lasted longer than 3 years, and it's hard not to accept that a large part of what makes these games pop are the first few months when everyone's still a bit fresh before moving on to the next big thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite common for smaller or indie studios, right? I mean, that's why I do games that potentially don't need any updates. So that I can move to the next project afterwards.
When it comes to the content side of things, we know that it brings people back, but it also maintains some sort of engagement.
It doesn't mean there will not be any updates. There will be updates, of course, but not like big updates.
To be fair, Chivalry 2 received more new content throughout the years than what was ever delivered in-house with Chivalry 1. And it wasn't until the 22nd of May 2024 when content development ended. The more you look into the content delivered, the more you can see that they clearly had a defined roadmap that they did achieve, just not at the pace that most would have liked, with actual new content being rather spread out.
Wait, but this is a lot of content every now and then. 2.7, 2.8.
The pace that most would have liked, with actual new content being rather spread out.
AI.
If a month doesn't feel long to you,
yeah.
then you're old, but playing the same game mode on the same few maps without anything new for a while can take its toll. What can also take its toll are the inherent issues that come with a game that appears to have been rushed in certain areas. Large-scale battles, as we already know, are a big draw to games like this, and Chivalry 2 went hard on the 64-player servers. Thankfully, with a more resilient generation of consoles, cross-platform is also possible to this scale. But regardless of hardware, networking issues plagued launch. Desync became a topic of discussion, and matchmaking was a bit broken. As for example, the party system that was meant to let you matchmake with your friends just didn't work for a good while, which, as you can imagine, isn't too great on launch, as initial hype only lasts for about a week or so. When it comes to build quality, updates would come with their own set of new bugs, some I've heard coming back from the grave. This wouldn't have been much of an issue if things were fixed in a more timely manner. The fact that this game is cross-platform is great, however, to push an update requires attention across all of them. So as you can imagine, this causes delays.
So they're focused on PC probably, and then, yeah.
And unfortunately, the delays themselves would often be vaguely communicated.
Whoa! What the hell?
Cheating and hacking is basically a force of
Oh no, I freaking hate cheetahs.
nature, one that requires constant defense. Like when you have to mow the spiky green stuff because it keeps coming back. Chivalry 2 does have anti-cheat, and with that it does require a bit more effort to hack. Maybe money for those more set up on the idea. Apparently North America didn't seem to suffer as much as Europe when it came to hacking and cheating, but it did get pretty bad. Flying about and speed killing the whole server and team objective is annoying for the odd player, but when it comes to the more communal areas, things get a little advanced. On many occasions, hackers would actively join duel yards with the goal just to piss people off. And naturally, they'd get vote kicked. But then things evolved to a point where, if they were kicked, the server would simply crash. And those who voted to kick would be identified and added to a list for the hacker to follow across any available server. It's one of those damned if you don't or damned if you do type situations. And the more prominent the issue becomes, the more effort it is for the average player to
What the heck?
stick around. What made things worse is that when the game came out for Game Pass, anti-cheat just wasn't there. With Game Pass being on PC, you can see where this is going. Easy burner accounts and even easier hacks. Now, Torn Banner did give certain people admin permissions to help moderate. And when an issue like this occurs, part of the banning process is to find the user ID of the hacker, but that's tough to do when the hackers learn how to hide it. It also didn't help that people knew that Torn Banner knew who some of the repeat offenders were, yet never went further than an account ban. If you really wanted to, you could just set up a new account, keep your main account safe, and do a little griefing. And to only make matters worse, Torn Banner, for whatever reason, didn't add private hosting till much later. which is honestly insane to think about. Being able to host a private server was a big part of Chivalry 1 and Mortal. The ability to host a private server for public use basically comes with its own moderation. If there's a portion of the community who just want to jump into a duel yard, then having the ability to lock it off with a passcode only to allow those people who aren't going to hack in, the hackers themselves can't actually get in to cause any trouble. But here's the thing, when they did introduce private servers, it was via their own partnered channel, and that was supposed to have some kind of...
Oh, Nitrado. Oh my god. They are so expensive. I remember them. They are a German company. I remember hosting with them as well when I was younger. Just because their servers were the closest. But they were like double the price the usual people. Like you can probably see it here. I don't know the normal prices for this game. But I remember for Minecraft, you played basically for each slot you paid like $3 or $4. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Imagine paying for 100 slot server $300 per month, and then you need to buy RAM extra as well. It's crazy.
Protection in place, but
It's
ultimately
crazy.
it didn't. So imagine spending that much money with no other option, while not only being at the mercy of hackers, but also the odd DDoS campaign. They did eventually add some kind of security, but you can imagine the disappointment from those who just wanted to host a server back when the service came out. The 4-hour-long video essay I mentioned earlier by LaRubric goes into more detail about the hacking issue, but ultimately it was a problem that never really saw much result.
Star Wars? What was that?
This was never planned to be a forever game, but that doesn't mean that there won't be a forever audience. It's those who stick around, who buy the DLC, support the game further, and are probably the only ones who are going to complete the battle passes. They have those in this game as well. It's a common thread now that the
you always have people like that.
more committed fan base take the back seat. While Mortal wasn't great in this, at least there was more transparency and freedom to go your own way, even if modding support didn't come out till far too late. In fact, on a side tangent, Chivalry 2 has no mod support, just none, which is a massive shame, especially considering where Torn Banner came from.
Wait, why do they not have mod support? The first part had so much mods, so why did they disable it now? This makes no sense. It's like, oh, by the way, we should throw mods out of the window, even though it was like 90% of why the community stayed alive the last time.
If it wasn't for Half-Life 2 and the ability to make Age of Chivalry, then where would they be today? But similar to Mortal, most content went towards large-scale team objective, and it was clearly built for that from the start. The main selling point was always the big cinematic battles. However, it's natural by this point that there's a...
Wait, how did the people get Star Wars characters then? We saw the Star Wars characters.
casual side to the player base and a more
Maybe
community-driven,
you need to own the
competitive
server
side.
to do it.
And it's when you look into that side, the competitive and social aspect to the game, where you begin to see frustration caused by old habits and new. I've mentioned them before,
Wait, what?
but duel yards are something well worth talking about now. The concept of a duel yard is highly social and basically tradition by this point. The idea is simple. You join, you find an opponent, flourish or do some freaky bowing, and then you have yourself a 1v1. Similar to something like a Dark Souls fight club, there's this etiquette with unwritten rules that form between more involved players.
Yeah, it's like going to the male bathroom, right?
Of course, in these games specifically, there's chat and some servers have clear rules. Breaking said rules or disturbing the peace would basically get you kicked, banned, or focused by the whole server. To accommodate for dueling in Chivalry 2, you basically have two options: unranked matchmaking or the more preferred duel yards, which as you'll soon see were clearly not something properly considered within scope. Before private hosting, Chivalry 2
Got a chicken!
did have public duel yards with one simple rule only found within the name of the server. 1v1 only, flourish at opponent to initiate. And that's it. No rules pop up in game, no unique mechanic to initiate, nothing to stop you from running in and going nuts. I mean, if someone's griefing, it's usually them versus the whole server. And it's not that much of an issue when you can just vote to kick or report, even though the reporting process does require video evidence and
What? Okay.
probably won't resolve until long after the event. But a large part to sustaining etiquette within these servers came down to simply telling people in chat. Understandably, some players may just have no idea what they're doing and need to be told. It was very much community driven in that way. And this is where things get kind of funny, if not quite annoying, because it was a bit of a disaster when cross-platform came to these servers. You see, the only way you could access dual yards was on PC, because console players didn't have access to the
Oh no, there will be console hackers as well. But console hackers will have a harder game, no? Probably, because if it's cross-platform, the PC hackers probably gonna have the advantage over it.
server list and were stuck in standard matchmaking. Until, of course, they eventually allowed console players to access the server list, which is a good thing. However, there was a bit of an issue with that, because console players don't have access to chat. So as you can imagine, with a lot of players who aren't familiar with dual servers in the first place, that can cause a bit of confusion. At one point, the game came to PlayStation Plus, and as if the universe itself was having a laugh, a bug came with it that essentially broke the vote to kick system. Think about it, a small percentage of PlayStation Plus players is still a lot. And without chat or vote to kick, it was apparently a difficult week for duelists. Now, private hosting didn't come till the Feta for All update in March 2024, about 2 years and 9 months since launch.
That's a long time.
And this update in particular is quite an interesting turning point for the community side of things.
Oh, really?
This was basically a handover from Tornbanner to the community to moderate duels and foot the cost. Because if there was ever a problem on these servers, it would have to be sorted out by staff. Staff that was apparently quite short supply.
Wait, there was a lot of custom stuff for the old
With this
servers.
update came the removal of dual yards or dual servers for what are now social servers, without any flourish to 1v1 rules. Because social servers don't come with this rule, there's no real need to moderate for anything outside of hacking. They're basically just free-for-all matches to, I guess, socialize in. It was basically the death of official dual yards, and the new private hosting service that came with this update looked like a way to cash in on those who wanted to keep that part of the culture going. Additionally, in an ironic way, 3 maps were released with this update, and one of those is called Dual Yard. It's a
Yeah, this didn't age well.
really cool map with all kinds of things to mess about with. But what would have been cool is to see this come out earlier when public dual yards were still a thing. And you may think to yourself, well, fair enough, it takes time to make new content and maybe this was just poor timing. Well, here's the thing. This map is the same map from the tutorial. The exact
Wait, why did it take them so long then?
same map. When it comes to the community and more competitive side of things, tournaments were mostly community driven, and Tornbanner have helped by providing private servers. They have been known to fund some events, and if you're lucky, you can win a peasant hat. When it comes to tournaments specifically, there are a few rabbit holes, but this was never meant to be an esport. However, the drive is there, because as you can see with each game, there's always a competitive scene, and the main reason for even covering that side of the audience is because they are the forever audience, and they are the ones who expose the core issues. One core issue in particular that has burnt quite a few bridges is Tornbanner's new approach to communication.
Oh, here we go again.
The best way to describe Tornbanner's approach to communication, based on what I've seen and heard, is corporate, rather signed off and a bit too curated. It's not like they didn't try to keep people in the loop about major delays or never patched anything, but it seemed like unless the issue was absolutely game-breaking, there wouldn't be much reassurance as to if it would be resolved. I mean, the hacking situation comes up here again because it got pretty bad and was a prominent issue for the core community for a long time. But there was no word from Tornbanner till much later, saying that it's in no uncertain terms that addressing cheaters is their top priority. Now, I'm well aware that this is going to sound very trust me bro, but I've had the privilege to chat with a few people that have been a part of the community who prefer not to be in this video. And based on those conversations, the best way to describe what it was like trying to get Tornbanner to listen was like throwing notes into the void, not quite knowing what will come back. I mean,
What?
people wanted private servers for a long time, and then all of a sudden, when it suits them best, they come out with something. It's easy to say developers and forget that they are people with schedules, deadlines, and pressure from above to execute company-approved high-priority tasks. But it seemed like not much else besides the next big thing was important enough to address. Unless, of course, it was critical. If you look at the slowed pace of updates and the increase in staff, one could
4 months.
assume that there's
4 months,
something else
2
being
months,
worked on, something
5 months,
big that
6
is drawing
months,
attention away
4
from
months.
development.
I don't know. I mean, the update looked quite big, so I don't know. I mean, those things are taking time, you know. I'm not sure about 4 months, but maybe 2 or 3 for sure.
On the 22nd of May 2024, the Regicide update concluded Chivalry 2, marking the official end for content development.
Oh.
And of course, the question on everyone's mind was what's next? Could it be that they were working on Chivalry III, the Arcane Warfare remaster? Well, no, because of course, this is where that damned quote, that unintentional prophecy, becomes reality.
Oh no, don't tell me they are doing a zombie game.
On the 10th of June 2024,
No.
No More Room in Hell 2 was announced. And the short story is, it didn't go too well. This is what went wrong with No More Room in Hell 2 so far, the light version. And I'm being a man of my word, stuck on a bus. Interestingly enough, No More Room in Hell 2 shares a similar origin to Chivalry, as it started from a Half-Life 2 mod.
What's going on
one that
now?
came out in 2011 and became a free standalone in 2013.
I played that game actually.
A standalone that currently shares a
Not the second one, the first one.
similar player count with the sequel. The general concept that applies to both is zombie survival in the more traditional sense. Each zombie is a legitimate threat that is best avoided. There's always a chance that you'll contract the virus on contact, and when you do, it's a race against time to find the cure or become another threat. There may be the odd runner, but most are slow and they are many. You have limited resources and have to use them wisely. Both are 8-player co-op, and working together is crucial for survival because once you're gone, and the rest must survive without you. It's meant to be a hardcore experience with a heavier lean towards realism and less reliance on UI. The mod is claustrophobic by nature with semi-dynamic environments, and by contrast the sequel is more open world with objectives leading to the center, where the goal is to perform said objectives before safely extracting. A successful extraction means you can keep your randomly generated character and level them up. Losing them is permanent. Lever Games were the original developers, and with limited resources, they were in the process of creating the sequel before the Torn Banner acquisition. Of course, when you think about it with Chivalry 2, things seem to slow down a little bit, or it seemed like their attention was elsewhere, and with the announcement of this, it adds some context as to maybe why. In October 2022, Lever Games mentioned a partnership with a larger studio. They then confirmed in March 2023 that the game had entered full-time development, suggesting that Torn Banner's involvement may have begun in late 2022 or early 2023. There's a post on this with a longer timeline of the development journey itself, as well as more commentary, but in relation to Torn Banner specifically, it's clear that they were at least juggling two things for a good portion of Chivalry 2's roadmap. This information could mean nothing, it could be completely pointless to throw in, but I feel like it gives some context as to why things may have been a bit slow for Chivalry 2, because they already knew when Chivalry 2 was going to end, and this was the new big thing. What went wrong so far with the sequel is a combination of a couple things, one of which being the launch in October 2024, that was quite damaging to its reputation.
Yeah, I saw the Steam reviews as well.
This is an early access game, and some will use early access as a shield against criticism, but $30 from an experienced studio is asking a lot for how unstable it was. Terrible desync, floating heads, and teleporting zombies are just a few of the issues encountered. Even to this day, some fly and others strike a pose. The harsh reality of early access is that it's still a launch regardless. The initial hype is something hard to get back, and it didn't fill many people with hope. Most won't buy the game till they see significant progress. When you expose the core concept to the world, it will be criticized, and that has a direct impact on
wait, but some people stick with the game. Look. What the hell?
Unfortunately, not long after launch, there were some layoffs, as they had to make the difficult decision to undergo a restructure because, as a fully independent, self-funded developer, they were up against many challenges. Apparently, those who were let go received severance packages as well as being able to keep their work computers, but it's hard not to draw a correlation here and see that this may be a sign that things weren't going too smooth with Torn Banner and they had to adjust to a new financial reality. The second thing is expectations. Taking over an IP with a following full of nostalgia and love for the original is a very risky move, let alone making
what is going on?
a sequel to something that already hit the spot. There were of course some reservations about Tornbanner's acquisition of the IP. Will they treat it with care? Will it be done right? Will it be true to the original? While the overall concept wasn't too far from the mod or what was to be expected for the sequel, there were some things missed and elements that weren't present. For example, the infection mechanic
Did he just ask to shoot children? Where's the zombie? What the heck is wrong with this guy? What?
was special in the way that you'd basically have to survive on pills till you find a cure, and if you didn't, it would be best to take one for the team. In the sequel, the depth to it just wasn't there, but now thankfully it is. After playing both the mod and sequel for equal amounts of time, the levels within the mod provide a much more slow and methodical journey. Due to the confined spaces and limited paths, you have to think on your feet because running out of stamina could mean the end very fast. It genuinely felt like there was more purpose to it. Your decisions carry weight and so do your mistakes. At the end, I had a story to tell, and so did everyone else who took part. In the sequel, that element...
But it's Ash Code again. We saw him in the other one as well, in the Shivali thing.
Lingers, but nowhere near as strong with random people. The gameplay loop lacks a deeper meaning to it. It's hard to describe, but the coordination between other survivors is less required here. You'll often find people rushing objectives, as with the current spawn points for zombies, it's more so a race against time than a push through a crowd. It's also worth mentioning that the melee combat is nothing like Chivalry, and it shouldn't be. It replicates the original, it's still satisfying, but there's something to it that feels a bit disconnected. Maybe it's the weird range. Thankfully, playing the game today is a different story in the way that it's much more stable. When you play it, you can see potential. And the good news is, at least looking at it now, is that Tornbanner seems committed to making it better. It has a long way to go.
Wait, they have a full roadmap.
Have a roadmap, and they appear to be listening to community feedback, which admittedly might be hard to hear for some Chivalry veterans. However, one cannot deny that they've put their eggs into a rather shaky basket. Will there ever be a Chivalry 3? Most likely, but it's hard to tell when or how it will turn out if the studio struggles to push forwards. For now, when it comes to melee slashers, the ball is well and truly in another court.
Okay. Damn.
So then, what now? Is this the end of the medieval melee slasher? No, of course not. In fact, I think things are about to get interesting. Regardless of development decisions, there's a natural evolution that comes with any genre. Mordhau was made in spite of Chivalry's unpolished combat system, a combat system that, looking back at it now, was fundamentally flawed and would require a complete rework. Mordhau just turned out to be that rework. Chivalry 2 then took a couple leaves out of Mordhau's book with a combat system and proved that you can lower the bar to entry and still have a fun game with a skill curve to climb. Inspiration is what takes a genre forwards, and forwards is never a straight path, neither should it be. It's the frustration of problems not being solved, things not being explored that push people to go their own way and get creative. And that's where we're at now. Giru, the guy who threw rocks and surfed around in the Twitch Rivals tournament, recently dropped a trailer for Ad Mortem, a dark fantasy
Oh wait, this I think he showed this game in the beginning.
PvP and co-op game with scale
from OTK? Wait, what?
Fights to focus more on team synergy. As clearly learned from past experience, skill-based matchmaking on top of an easy-to-pick-up combat system is a priority according to what's on the store page. There's Renowned, which I personally want to say is the spiritual successor to Reign of Kings, but jokes
yeah, the things are not looking good for them. We already checked.
aside, this game brings the slasher-style combat system to the survival setting. It's a step in a different direction and one that seems to fit well. Survival games can be hit or miss, but have great potential to
seems like it was a miss based on the Steam reviews.
Be that forever game where hard of hearing Aussies and Danish people lurk. Fiefdom is another that revealed itself fairly recently, where the focus is on large-scale battles both by land and sea in this dynamic world. It's a melee slasher by definition, but also includes magic within combat. It's not to the same degree as Mirage, but there is a bit more of a dueling aspect to it. What I'm trying to show here is that this genre is growing. It's those who love the raw nature of the combat system from the games before who are taking it in different directions. It's point blank obvious, but what went wrong in this genre largely came down to development and the poor decisions that followed. More specifically, the inability or inaction to tackle the new challenges unique to games like this. But what went right was also because of the people behind it. There's no telling if any of these projects will succeed.
Well, Renown didn't age well. They are on mostly negative. right now.
It's
The other ones
guaranteed,
I
however,
didn't
that
check
each
it.
will face challenges that the team behind it may not even be able to resolve because of some unforeseen issues baked into the code. That to fix would essentially mean dismantling the whole thing or spending resources.
But similar games are getting popular right now, right? Mage Arena, for example. I saw a similar game as well on Steam popping up. Things like that, like they are currently popping up.
That just aren't there anymore.
It's kind of
At
in
the
a way
beginning of the
similar,
video,
right?
I mentioned first-person shooters, and if you look at the history of that genre, with the amount of games, the different paths it took, and
Why is there World of Tanks Blitz?
the evolution as well as the devolution, you can see a long history of mistakes to learn from. It's a part of the process to build upon what came before, and the reality here is that innovation in this space for the longest of time has been slow. But it's nice to stand here to see that the genre you grew up with has some kind of future. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
I hope you had a wicked time, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug the Wicked Wizard channel here because we've got a big video coming out there soon about
Wait,
some
what?
funny dinosaur games.
Wait,
It's quite an
what?
interesting dumpster dive to say the least. Of course, a massive thanks to all of my supporters. You guys pay for the snacks at the
I
station.
didn't know.
Also, thank you to all of those who have given their time to chat about and provide context for the games covered in this video. And finally, a personal shout out to all of my based wizards. Gibbles by the dozen, the Cuddly Bop, Negadan, the one with 7 toes, Abby, the Meatly, Durham Trollfist, Matt MC, Pete Z, Spooky, King Delirious, Bob the Bronto, Scotched Eggs, Big Ram, Grimber, Letter Opener,
Big Ram, that's a crazy
Julie,
name
Ambassador
nowadays.
Ass, Dante's Face, The Smiley, Roland Deshane, and I Don't Fit Through Doorways.
What?
I'll see you guys in the next one where I may be in space or sneaking around somebody's house.
Wait, what? Okay. When is this gonna happen? Did he get caught while sneaking in someone's house? What happened? Okay, Rick Wizard. What's going on there? What the hell? Wait, he got videos here 3 weeks ago. The dead gang concept of being a dog? Why do you want to be a dog? Bow Bow? Question mark? Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. Interesting. Maybe we will take a look here. Whoa, what's going on? 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay. Crazy. Where we just spent 2 hours on a 1 hour video. I wanted to avoid this. God dang it. I messed up. I'm sorry. But yeah, we still have... Should we make it shorter then? We have this one as well. But it's 40 minutes. Okay, let's start with this one. Fixing the RPG problem from Asad Anjun. It's from 8 months ago. So let's see what's going on over here.
RPGs are gaming's greatest contradiction.
Are they?
They're simultaneously designed to give you the ultimate freedom, the ultimate scale, the ultimate world building, and often the ultimate power fantasy, while also making everything a slog. Traversing worlds takes forever, conversations take
empty
forever,
sometimes
you
as
spend a
well,
significant
the
amount of
worlds.
time scrolling through menus, checking gear, watching numbers fly by, repairing weapons, managing your weight limit, and even some of the best RPGs are littered with busy work quests and time sink activities. And it's that exact contradiction that, to a lot of people, makes them so dynamic and engaging. I was talking about it with one of my friends recently, and he mentioned that slog really was the perfect word to use here, but not in a negative way. It's that total and complete commitment, the fact that the game doesn't cut anything out and instead allows you to interact with even the most minute details of the story and the world that makes them so appealing. You're not just playing the highlight reel, you're playing the role. And to be honest, that's something that I've always had a bit of a strained relationship with myself. The term RPG is really broad and sometimes hard to define, but I think what I've come to realize is that games that are considered action RPGs, like the Souls games, as well as games that align mostly with different genres but have strong RPG elements, like the new God of War games, are right up my alley. But games that skew closer to the core RPG experience, where there's more emphasis on developing your personality on top of your playstyle, you have a more active hand in building relationships and making decisions, and you have to deal with the socio-economic climate of the world you're dropped into, have just never been my thing.
Basically, I'm more of a hit a giant snake person in the dome with a big wind lance first, ask 400 questions later kind of guy, and I thought that was just how it was gonna be forever.
And then, this happened.
Uh-oh. What happened? Hey, what's that? Alfheim? Wait, is it Kingdom Deliverance? I have a poster of them. Okay, I don't have it on the wall. Damn it. But they gave it to me on Gamescom. What's the dog doing?
Hey, sorry. This is kind of an awkward spot for you to catch me in. I'm currently lugging some sacks of seeds over into this barn over here before I head off to shovel some poop out of a latrine.
What?
Why am I lugging sacks of seeds into a barn before I shovel poop out of a latrine? Good question. Well, I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I ran into these two guys talking about poetry or something in a tavern, and I sort of got roped into that conversation, and it started a side quest. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything here, so I'll just say that I had to go find something, and then I had to find a guy to fix that thing, and he was kind of hard to track down because he was drunk and stuck in a tree, which was a whole other side quest that I had to do, by the way. And then when I finished all of that, I was finally able to ask him the thing that I initially came there for, and he told me that I had to get another thing, which I had to travel to a different town to buy. And then I brought it back to this guy, he fixed my thing, and then I finally got back to the two guys I met initially, but found out that I wouldn't get my reward until I paid off a debt, which included lugging sacks of seeds into a barn before shoveling poop out of a latrine. So, here I am.
Typical sad quest.
The end of a series of wild goose chases, fairly mundane fetch quests, and a laundry list of inconveniences. It's all been topped off with this, which has been going on for a long time now.
2 minutes. Yeah.
So why am I having so much goddamn fun?
Whoa! What the hell? What just happened? Okay. Making me show. Yeah.
Even though I've never personally connected with a whole ton of games in this genre, I've always respected the attempts they make to become the ultimate, all-encompassing game experiences, borrowing from practically every subgenre of the entire medium and presenting it to you as an all...
Man, I miss those RPGs, but I don't know if I should play them. They always consume so much time, and I just don't have it. I don't have the time.
You can eat buffet. But with that goal comes a fundamental problem that needs to be solved. How do you make the boring shit not boring?
That's a good question.
How do you maintain this comprehensive approach to game design without losing players along the way? Especially if you want to appeal to not just core RPG players, but somebody like me, who might want to play space exploration game, or dystopian cyberpunk future game, or cool guy with sword fights giant creatures game, but doesn't want to deal with the side of these experiences that has always personally dragged them down. And the industry solution to that problem has been interesting to see unfold in real time, because it's basically hide the boring shit at all costs.
Damn.
Weight limits are annoying and you don't want to have to deal with them? Have magic inventory chests right away and be able to sell your stuff in bulk so you don't have to deal with the minutia of that. Don't want to take the time to learn how to craft items? Good news, literally nothing you do in this game will ever even remotely require crafting, to the point that a few hours in you'll forget that was even a mechanic in the first place. From a quality of life standpoint, these sound great, and these decisions are basically tailor-made for somebody like me who doesn't want to be forced into these mechanics. But at the same time, this is effectively the game undercutting a lot of its own systems, and it makes me wonder why it's all even there at that point. And the answer to that seems to be, for players who do want to engage with these slower systems, but it's sort of a compromise where neither side gets what...
But if it's single player, then it doesn't really matter, right? I don't know, I feel like if you have if you have those complexities in multiplayers, it would make more sense, because then, you know, you try to make more money, so you sell the things. You are trading them for the people who don't want to craft or are focusing on another skill of crafting. I don't know, fishing or whatever, you know. So I think it would make sense for these kind of games, but for single players, is Kingdom Deliverance was a single player game, right?
What they want. People who want deep, realistic experiences are served half-baked ideas that are built to be ignored, and people who find this stuff annoying are still forced to have fringe interactions with them that almost makes them feel more frustrating to deal with. Like, alright, you want to have a weapon durability system because you want to be realistic, but you also...
I hate weapon durability systems. I hate them so much. it's a good way to, you know, keep people active, but it's also annoying. Like in my own world, I would prefer the one without durability, because if you are grinding for the best weapon in the war game, you don't want to repair it for a fortune every time you make one hit, you know.
Also don't want it to be too much of a hassle, so it's really cheap to fix and you can do it all over the world, which means the final result is you just have to stop exploring and fighting at random intervals just to fast travel somewhere, press a button, and then go back to where you were. Great, now it feels both boring and completely unnecessary. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has a bit of a different answer to this problem though.
Okay.
Force the player to deal with the boring shit until they realize that the boring shit isn't boring. Instead of almost being ashamed of some of its mechanics or catering to my playstyle, the game goes the extra mile to convince me that those mechanics are worth trying. And by doing that, it not just hooked me immediately as someone who's been critical of RPGs in the past, but it basically flipped everything I thought about the genre on its head. Because I'm gonna be honest, from a bird's eye view, this game looks like the dictionary definition of everything I hate in RPGs. It is hyper-realistic. You need to constantly manage your inventory and physical well-being. Food will spoil if you have it in your bag for too long. If you don't occasionally take the time to clean yourself, all the ladies will talk about how stinky you are. Do you know how embarrassing that is? But it finds a way to make that all engaging because every second from the moment you boot it up, it forces you to very, very actively engage in its role-playing elements, otherwise you have absolutely zero chance of succeeding. Even to save your game outside of sleeping in a bed you own or hitting an important part of a quest, you need to find ingredients and brew a potion. So imagine how unironically ecstatic I was that after hours of losing progress over and over because I didn't have any potions, I stumbled onto this basket that had just a bunch of herbs I needed to make it. Immediately, I trekked to the nearest town, found an alchemy bench, read the recipe, prepped my ingredients, and spent 20 actual real-life minutes brewing potions just so I could save the game a few times. So even though this was a tedious process, it felt like a major win because this was my main priority. I obviously have to be able to save the game, so thank God for this basket.
Basket.
I don't actually know if this was my main priority because I also go hungry pretty quickly, so when I dropped into the game for the first time, I thought I should probably get some food first. Can't buy food though because I literally have no cash, so actually my main priority is getting my money up. Except nobody wants to talk to me because I'm bum-ass naked, so first I gotta find some clothes, but again, I have no money and no one is sympathetic towards me because I started the game being publicly shamed, so really my first priority should be to build up my reputation. But I can also do that by getting clothes that'll make people think I'm important, so maybe that is the first move. Although if I try and steal some clothes and get caught, it'll negatively impact my reputation, so I can't really do that unless maybe I save before I steal the clothes so I can retry if I get caught. Except hold on a second, I can't even save the game if I don't have potions, so what the hell am I even supposed to be doing here? The first few hours of TCD 2 are basically a hardcore survival game. You can't even think about getting into the action or moving the plot along because you're just trying so hard not to die. And you also know that if you accidentally stumble into combat, you're gonna get turned into Swiss cheese. And what this forced me to do was face everything I didn't like about RPGs, everything that I found boring or would intentionally try to ignore or work around, and made that the entire loop for a while. I had no choice but to deal with it, and when I did that, something crazy happened. I stopped hating it. You know how they say if you're scared of something, you just kind of have to stare at it for long enough and then it'll stop being scary? I feel like that's basically what happened to me here. And when it did, it kind of recontextualized.
I think I played the demo on Gamescom, but it didn't convince me. That's why I didn't play the game yet. But I don't know.
Things for me. I mentioned earlier how I find inventory systems with weight limits unnecessary and kind of annoying. Like, I understand that they're there for more than just realism. They're the secondary gameplay system that's meant to engage you further in your exploration, your relationship with the townspeople, and the game's economy. But every time I've had to engage with this, it still feels like I'm forced to stop doing the fun parts of the game to focus on the less engaging parts. And I hate how that breaks up the pacing. And then here, all of a sudden, it came into focus. I had to constantly make real, impactful
impactful choices about what was important to me and what wasn't. I needed to balance the benefits of grabbing a nearly broken piece of armor that may come in handy if I'm able to fix it up, with the downsides of having to sacrifice other equipment to make room for something that wouldn't even be useful until I poured some of my hard-earned money into repairing it. This is more than a roadblock, it's an actual genuine choice. And I realized that this is what people probably always appreciated about inventory systems, but because I'd never been forced to focus on it, and instead most games have tried to circumvent inventory issues.
I like it, but I'm still not a fan of durability.
Choosing to speed them along. To me, they'd always come across as more frustrating and tedious than they had strategic. In the same way, the game's fast travel system made me look at that mechanic in a whole new light. Because this game does feature fast traveling, but instead of teleporting you directly to the location you selected, you actually get to watch Henry's path and see on the timer how long it's taking you to get places. You can also get ambushed or stumble across something interesting on the way, which can stop you partway through, so it maintains the majority of the convenience of regular fast travel, but occasionally presents you with emergent moments which emphasize that you are still performing the physical act of traveling. In most games with fast travel, it's really easy to view previously visited areas as glorified menus, and the scale of the space.
I really want to play the game again, but I don't know if I can start where I left off.
In between locations is completely lost. The flip side being games with no fast travel where the space is felt a little bit too much. But here you get to keep the quality of life, and the space still always matters, with the towns and how they're connected being distinguished in more ways than just the name and basic layout. Maybe the most surprising thing to me though was how invested I got in all the extremely optional mini side activities. I never really played Gwent in The Witcher 3, which is somehow maybe the most sacrilegious thing I've said in this whole video, because to be honest, if you give me the decision between going off and fighting some giant beast with blades and fire versus playing a card game, I'm sorry, I'm unga bungaing every time. That is way more my speed.
I love card games.
Too, I found myself engaging with dice extremely frequently, despite it being much less fleshed out than Gwent is. Because at the beginning of the game, when I was just dirt poor and looking for any—
But card games are freaking dying, man. Especially the online ones. I saw some things, and you know, we are working on a card game. I'm saying this for quite a while now. But it's like every time, like every couple of months something happens and you have to change direction again, and then it's like, oh, okay, let's delete some months of work and do something new. So yeah, it's crazy.
Anything to help me make a little extra money, the potential of getting even $3 extra was worth the risk of losing that same amount. So I actually felt the need to try it at first, and then once I realized how simple and fun it was, it just became a regular part of my routine. I think I just described a gambling addiction. Ironically, I think the fact that these other games had so many things that did appeal to me right away was the reason that I didn't connect with them in the way that I should have. I kept trying to play these games on my terms, trying to align them exactly with the experiences that I enjoyed growing up, because if I squinted, I could see a game that appealed to me, as long as I rejected the things that I felt were too slow or wasted time. But it's only now that I'm playing a game that doesn't really appeal to me, and it's giving me no other choice but to engage with these systems, or else I have to risk essentially wasting the $70 I spent to play this game, that I finally gave up that control and started playing the game on its terms. It also helps that not only was the game forcing me to pay more attention, but what I was paying attention to was a lot richer than the average RPG. Not only do you have very limited inventory space, your horse also has very limited inventory space, and coming across chests that hold your items, especially early on, is very rare. The vendors that you interact with also have their own net worth, and you can't sell them more than the amount that they can afford. Plus, you can only sell certain items to certain types of buyers, and there's even a basic haggling system for any transaction. There's just so much more to sink your teeth into here than you get with a game that's hell-bent on removing all the friction from the experience. And I think some people might hear all of this and assume that I'm trying to say that every RPG should be like this, with these deep, realistic, hardcore simulation elements. But that's not true. If that happened, I actually think that'd be kind of annoying. What I want is for more of these games to realize that by continuously streamlining the process and attempting to remove the friction entirely, you're setting up certain types of players to only appreciate one dimension of the game.
instead of what you should be doing, which is getting them to appreciate the other dimensions equally. Leveraging struggle can really be effective for any game in the genre, like genuinely any game. In fact, some of what KCD 2 does actually reminds me of another RPG I enjoyed a lot when I was younger. Maybe the one that resonated with me the most up until now, and definitely the one that I have the most hours in. And I think it's worth it to look at as a smaller case study, so let's take a quick detour and talk.
I have so many hours in freaking Arch. Did anyone play this game? Oh boy. How many hours do I have in it? 2000? Oh my god.
NBA 2K13.
Wait, what?
No, I'm serious.
Why?
Before playing NBA 2K13, the only basketball game I had played was Me Basketball from Wii Sports Resort, and the only other sports game I played was NHL 2K11, a game where you were able to create a player, crank him up to level 99 on everything, and just have him rip through every team you came across. So when I loaded up NBA 2K13 for the first time, and right away I saw the My Career mode, I just kind of assumed it was the same thing, and went into it expecting to instantly turn my player into LeBron James. Instead, the game winds up turning you into LeBron James.
Junior.
In My Career, instead of just making a character and maxing out all of his stats immediately, the stats you started with were god-awful, and you had to earn them extremely slowly through the course of your fictional NBA career. It is brutal. The better you do in the practice game, the higher your draft pick, so the worse the team is that you have to play with. And unlike 2K15, you don't even get to interact with big shot celebrities like Dion Waiters.
Sounds like a wise fella to win in this league. You need all hands on deck.
Ohio! Wait, who was that? Testified. That's quite a name. Welcome. Thanks for following.
Check it.
And honestly,
thanks, man. Exactly.
This was my favorite part of the entire mode. I remember I would basically play through My Career until my player got to a competent level of playing basketball, and then I would start it all over again. Because it was never really as fun to me to walk into every arena and drop Wilt Chamberlain numbers en route to an 82-0 season just to do it again next season. There's nothing exciting or surprising or unique in that. But even when you got really good at NBA 2K, starting a new run of My Career forced you to be a little bad still, and made you earn the right to move on to better places. Like not Charlotte. Now I should mention that when I got NBA 2K13, I didn't even really like basketball, and this mode was so good that it got me to watch the NBA in real life. And at this point, it's my favorite sport. I love the way they dribble up and down the court. Unfortunately, I did become a Dallas Mavericks fan, so it hasn't been the best time for me recently. But the fact that this game, and this mode specifically, had such an impact on me shows just how much I resonated with this structure, even as a kid. Interestingly, though, I'm reminded of a section of one of Drew Gooden's recent videos where he has a completely different
Everybody wants to waste your time.
Opinion on 2K's My Career, or at least the modern iteration of it. He talks about how gruelingly slow it is at first, and the fact that this is supposed to incentivize you to spend real-life money on speeding the process up, which is true. This was a thing back in 2K13 as well, but they have undoubtedly built the system more and more around microtransactions as the years have gone on, and in turn, the progress at the beginning has gotten agonizingly slow rather than rewardingly challenging.
This is how the game wants you to feel. They want you to hate this part, because they know the more frustrating of an experience you have, the more likely you are to just...
Wait, isn't it single player?
Skip to option 2, spend $40 more.
So there's
Bro, what the hell?
very clearly a limit to how far you can push this. If you go from making the player struggle to practically stopping progress entirely, it loses all of its charm, especially if there are microtransactions involved. That's something that's always bugged me about the new Assassin's Creed games. The leveling system in this series is borderline gotcha, but in calculated doses, it can become so much more effective than a frictionless experience depending on what you're trying to accomplish with your game. Even still, it's interesting to see how a gameplay loop that I love can be completely hated by somebody else, and it's even more proof that there's no one way to design something. You can't account for everyone's preferences, but I really respect the games that are just okay with that. Speaking of, going back to KCD 2, you can see the same motifs of struggle, friction, and mundaneness, not just in the gameplay, but also in the narrative. At a time when everything's getting bigger and stories are covering so much ground, this game succeeds by filling in every inch of a much smaller space.
Damn. How long is he walking?
Instead of branching out,
Where are you walking, Annie?
story elements branch in and overlap. NPCs and locations are often reused for multiple quest lines, and not in a lazy way, but instead in a way that makes characters feel less like quest markers and vendors, and more like actual people that are constantly being referenced by others and might help you out with different problems. Townsfolk will talk about the people in neighboring areas that they might love or hate. They'll discuss local rumors and their opinions on the people who seem to be spreading them, and even smaller quests will often feature multiple familiar faces. Nothing in this game feels like its own consolidated event. It always goes back to ground you've walked before and people you already know. Let me give you an example real quick. And just so you know, there's going to be some minor spoilers here, but it's from the very early hours. It's not even a full side quest that I'll be covering. It's a side activity, and it's like a drop in the bucket for what this game is. But still, if you want to skip it, you can go to this timestamp. In the first area of KCD2, there are two small villages that are having a dispute about
it's just 2 minutes. It's fine.
land, and each side actually has its own side.
If it would be 10 minutes, I might
I'm not
have
going to be getting
skipped
into
it.
those here. If you talk to the innkeeper of one of these towns, though, who seems to be the spokesperson for this dispute, you can ask him about other things around the region that you can do, and he'll offhandedly tell you about some guy called the Mouth, who's known for his tall tales around here. You can then go and find the Mouth and ask him to tell you a story, and based on some quick skill checks and your choice of which kind of story you want to hear, he'll eventually give you an earful. I chose to hear a story with a good moral, and he told me a nice little folk tale that I won't spoil here that involves a special but potentially cursed silver axe. He also ends the story by saying that it's all true and you can go check for yourself if you don't believe him. This starts a short activity where you can go to a nearby lake and follow the directions from the story to find, you guessed it, a silver axe. Unfortunately, it's broken, so you have to go to the blacksmith forge and repair it yourself, which is a whole mini activity that requires some patience. You then go back to the Mouth and tell him that you found the axe, and he's shocked, saying that he thought the story was fake the whole time and just didn't think somebody would actually try and track it down. Now, this is a pretty quick detour that KCD2 doesn't even consider a full side quest, even though it has enough meat for most other games to consider it one. Still, it's a really good showcase that even in the simplest of activities, this game is layering mechanics, areas, and characters on top of each other to create this massive web of dependent variables.
Yeah, this
the
makes
activity
sense.
itself can only
Reminds
start
me a little bit to Black Desert, I think it was, right? Black Desert was also a nice game, but it's really repetitive after some time. I think I leveled until level 40 or 50 or something, and the monsters get repetitive, the quests get repetitive, and then I quit. I was like, okay, I have other things to do.
When you talk to somebody who's already involved in a string of side quests, the conversation with the Mouth himself feels dependent on your choices and the skills you've built up until now. Finding the axe requires you to actually follow the steps of the story you were just told. The blacksmith whose forge you use is a key character for one of the main quest routes you can take, and smithing is an important skill that you can hone and develop separately. Every single part of this short activity winds up feeling deeply ingrained in the world and narrative that you've already experienced, rather than a fully standalone offshoot, and that's true with basically every other side story in the game, including the anecdote at the beginning of this video, which I still don't want to spoil, but this single fairly basic side quest opens up multiple others and involves 4 separate recurring characters. And to some people, that level of interconnectedness might feel like more of a nuisance than anything. If you're somebody that typically likes to just knock things off of a checklist instead of having all this extra tangential stuff to do, which is, you know, usually how I feel, this might sound like a frustrating level of dependency, but it feels less like the game is extending the runtime of an activity by making me do a bunch of busy work, and more like all the mechanics and quests are being properly laced together to support one another. This activity could have just stopped when I grabbed the axe and maybe found it in perfect condition, but with this extra smithing step, the reward for the quest feels more personally earned, this skill feels more useful to the quest, and the blacksmith and innkeeper characters make their umpteenth appearance in early side and main quests, each instance of which deepens your bond with those characters when they could have easily been forgotten if they were just blank-faced vendors. The game even does basically the impossible with this activity and takes something that I've always hated, the illusion of choice, and makes me not really mind it all that much. I mentioned how when you talk to the Mouth, there are options or skill checks that seem to dictate what story he'll tell, or if he'll even tell you one at all, but really, it all leads to the exact same story and same quest. And the knee-jerk reaction to this for most people is that the game is essentially lying to you about your level of control and making you think your choices matter when in reality they don't at all. But by the time this quest had come along, I had already seen a ton of instances where my decisions did truly matter, significantly
significantly, to the point that the game had already fully earned my trust, and in real time, I assumed that these particular choices were no different. It was only when I looked into it further for this video that I realized that this was all set dressing, but really, as long as that illusion makes me fully believe that unique things are happening, isn't that just as good as something unique actually happening in practice?
That's what it's
like
about
any other
in a
sneaky
game, right?
dev
It's
trick.
like acting.
If you can hide it really
You're
well,
looking for getting into the game and having the feeling for it, and if it hits that spot, then it's fine. Life is like a hurricane with the doctor. Hello Alice, how are you doing today? How's your evening going? This is another Doctor Wu reference. Oh boy, oh boy.
It's brilliant game design, but if you can't, it'll be relentlessly picked apart by people calling your bluff. I'm looking at you, Fallout 4. So while I still have conflicted opinions on the illusion of choice as a whole, I think it's pretty amazing that this game has made me question such a long-standing opinion in the first place.
You don't like it? I'm fine with it. In fact, wait, where was it? I saw Doctor Wu somewhere, but I forgot where it was. Was it a game? Nah. Or what was it? I forgot. Was it an alert? Nah, okay, never mind. I saw it somewhere and I saved it, but out of my mind I cannot tell where it is, and I have too many tabs open right now to see where I can find it.
And I wonder how I'll view it in other games going forward.
Damn. Looks like a
Kingdom
nice
Come
game.
Deliverance 2 is not a perfect game. Even in its systems and side quest design, which I've spent so much of this video praising, there are definitely some mechanics that feel a little bit long at the tooth, and stories where the characters involved are a lot blander than normal. And that quickly takes what I love about the design and instantly unravels it into this mess of random names and unengaging activities. But it's a game that's not afraid to take massive risks, and to enjoy it, I had to take massive risks in the way I played it. I think that's why I decided to even buy this game in the first place, even though if I told somebody that I was looking for an RPG to change my mind about RPGs, this probably would be the last one on the list, because it's such a committed RPG that you kind of assume that if somebody's not on board already, they'll find nothing to like here. But I think the overwhelming sentiment from not just me, but a lot of players right now, is that games that fully commit to their ideas and don't make concessions to try and appeal to people well outside their main demographic are ultimately the games most worth playing. If they're the type of game that you already like, then perfect. If they're the type of game that you don't like, then either they have a chance to show you why you should like them, or you could just not play them. Games are getting so big and so expensive that I'm more than fine ignoring.
Which is your favorite RPG? Okay. I don't know. I haven't played RPGs in a while, to be honest, I think. Or did I? Do I have any RPGs installed right now? I don't think I have. I mean, I have action games like Power World, but it's not an RPG. I don't think I have one installed at the moment. I don't play one actively, so I don't have a favorite one. But if it counts, there's a project coming up. I don't know when exactly it's done yet, but there's a project with more than 100 VTubers coming up. Which focus will be around role-playing, so this will be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It just takes time to be done. It might be around end of this month or next month, so this will be fun, and there will be a lot of streaming when this is happening. So yeah, but I don't know, RPG besides of that, I don't think I have any installed. But Paul, the Digimon game was really nice. This was an RPG, right? The Digimon Time Stranger. This was really nice. Yeah. Besides for that, though, I don't think we played any RPGs lately. At least I cannot find anything when I'm scrolling here right now. No. Yeah, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I don't know. I will probably check out more RPGs in the future, though. I hope I can get back into the genre, and hopefully there will be good games, because One of the reasons why I stopped playing so many RPGs is because it was just repetitive at some point. Like, I played so much that maybe everything just felt the same. I don't know. But at some point I was like, okay, why should I play this game? It looks like those 3 other games that I just played. You know? So, yeah. But this was some time ago. So, yeah. Maybe it's worth checking back out and check it back out. The genre. But I don't like those repetitiveness. Like, if you do something with level 20 and then you are farming a lot, and then with level 40 they just stretch it out. I hate this. When they stretch it out and they call the same mob again in a different color with more HP and more damage, and you're like, whoa, why do I have to do this now? I'm not a fan of
one
that
that
one.
Can't pick a lane. I think a lot of people are, and that's why you see the brutally difficult RPG, the massive turn-based CRPG, and the deeply
CRPG.
realistic.
Oh no, Clair Obscur. We played Clair Obscur as well. This was also good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it also got Game of the Year, you know, so it better be good. Okay, these waters are great. Sits on the riverbank. Are you trying to roleplay right now?
Evil RPG,
Crazy.
all becoming defining moments for the genre, while the massive space RPG for all has a hard time appealing to both the core and outside audience. This genre is maybe the pinnacle of what games are capable of, but if you take that idea too far and make a game for everyone, you wind up making a game for no one.
That's a good quote.
With KCD2 under my belt, I think I have a better framework for appreciating this genre more than I once did, and I'm honestly really excited to give some old games another shot and dive into
the new The Witcher game. We will probably check it out. I never played The Witcher before. I know the series on Netflix, but that's pretty much it. So, and I know Gwent. I played Gwent as well. But yeah.
Into some newer stuff that I've been hesitant about. I played most of The Witcher 3 a few years ago, and I always respected it, but never truly loved it. I think I'd appreciate it a lot more after playing this game, though, so I might get back around to it. I've also really been eyeing Baldur's Gate.
But only the older one, not the online one.
3. I was kind of afraid to get into it at first because I really thought this wasn't the kind of game for me, but it turns out I might be totally wrong about that, so that's probably next on the list. I'd love to know what you guys think about modern RPGs, what you thought of KCD2 if you've played it, and
I haven't
also
played
what are other RPGs that you think I'd enjoy, preferably if you...
Wait, there was this one game also that looked really cool on the Game Awards yesterday. Wait, what was the name? Am I even allowed to show it? It was Votel. I'm probably gonna play it. Wait, look at this. I'm gonna show it to you. Divinity, it's called, from Larian Studios. It's brutal, it's crazy, that's what we like. And it's not, it doesn't seem to shy away from, you know, crazy things. Like Morrowind and Oblivion. I played Skyrim, I think. I don't know. Hey, what are you doing? Did this shout the Game Award? This is disgusting, by the way, but yeah. Oh, I hope this video will not get age. It will probably get age restricted. The scenes in this video will be. They are crazy. They are actually crazy. But it's in the middle of the stream, so maybe we will get lucky. Wow, how beautiful. What is that? Puppet? Ring, ring, ring. It's the Game Master. Not the crown reminding me of the Tolkien books. Tolkien. Uh-oh. Let the man burn. Here we go. This will only get worse from here. Look at this. We will probably play this game. We will really likely play this game. It looks really crazy. But that's the good part about it, right? And yeah. freaking child is laughing. It's crazy. When I saw these things, I thought it's The Witcher at first, to be honest. I thought it's a new Witcher game. Dude, this is this. Yeah. I will not say anything about those things happening right now. It's fine. Nice. I mean, it looks like a nice Monster Hunter game, you know? Monster Hunter... Monster game? Monster type of game? Witcher kind of game? Looks like fun. So yeah, this one we will probably check out. Oh, here we go. I think it will be nice. Wait, when was it coming out? I think it was in April or something. Yeah, we will probably see. Did it say... Wait, is there an age? No, they only show the website. Wait, there's no date. Twitter, Blue Sky, people are still using Tumblr? Okay. Interesting. Wait, there's no link to the website though. Okay, so we don't know when this one is coming out. There's nothing here. Baldur's Gate. Oh, maybe here? Get it now. Where is... Wait, is it coming soon? Is it coming soon? Wait a minute. Wait, what? Oh, this one is a different one, right? Ascent to Divinity. Divinity Original Sin 2. Steam. This is from 2017, so this is probably not the game. So yeah, it's not there yet and we don't have a date. I hope it's soon. Kind of. Soon-ish. But yeah. We will dive into a lot of RPGs probably in the next year. There are some good ones coming out, like The Witcher and that one, and yeah. So let's hope we will get back into the genre. And it's not dying. But yeah, I mean, right now, the dying that for me, a dying factor is if the genre gets repetitive, you know, like I mentioned, like you don't play a game anymore because it's like the 3 other games you just played. So if it's getting too repetitive, too much, then yeah, it's dying. If it wasn't soon-ish, it would be later-ish. Yeah. But okay, we have some more. This one is called I Tried the Best Dying Steam Games from Y Games. Y Games? It's a 40-minute video once again. So yeah, let's see what's going on here. And we can already see Chivalry whatever number 2. So we can already see the RPGs in here.
In the past couple years, I've played close to 200 lifeless games.
Damn.
But there might be something even better.
More down, another one. Another one. Oh, the RPG gang is it's being collected over here.
Completely dead game.
I can safely say that Mordhau's future is looking pretty grim.
My realistic vision of the future is the game kind of just continuously dwindling down. You know, less and less activity.
Damn.
Honestly, I only think the competitive community are probably going to be the last people playing the game.
Every game in this video is at a different stage of...
Another one, DJ Khaled. Wait, what? Another one. Another one?
Dying. Some of them could probably even still be
this
saved.
Minecraft? What
but
is
in
this?
Mordhau's case, it's really not looking too good.
Oh yeah, and we also have Hytale coming on in 1 month. In 1 month, it's coming. Hytale. Mordhau.
I knew 3 things about Mordhau before I first...
Yeah, we already saw what's going on in this game. It's funny to be back.
Bought it. It's a hack and slash game that's about 6 years old. It has a modding scene. And my mate Dan has about 30 hours on it, so it's got to be good.
Me on my way
it's
to
been about 10 months since Mordhau's most recent content update, and before that, almost 2
every new
years
Dragon
since
Ball
the last
game
new map.
comes out.
Player numbers have been in steady decline ever since
Who is
2022.
Raditz?
And if
Is
it
he
stays
from
on
Dragon
the same
Ball?
path, it could be well below 500 by the end of the year.
Damn.
It was really fun while it lasted. Sadly, the game has died, and
1,400 hours?
we may have to wait a couple years for the genre to be revived in some way.
Damn.
If more people were playing and the new guys could be put in matches with no
He's the brother of Goku? Okay. Oh. I knew that, of course. No, I didn't. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of Dragon Ball, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I would recommend
I have no
now
excuse
it's at the
actually.
bottom of a death spiral.
But I didn't watch it.
The
But I
first
know the
day
opening.
I played Mordhau, I learned a lot.
Hey,
It was obviously similar to Chivalry 2 in some ways,
or
but
something
it felt
like that. I don't
very
know.
different. I'm about 20 minutes into playing this game, and I'm doing okay, to be honest. 11 kills, 12 deaths, 11 deaths, 9 assists.
Nice.
I'm doing alright for a level 1, but like, just look at the other people in the lobby. There's only 1 or 2 players I can see that are brand new to the game. I spent the first few hours playing official team objective servers, and after a bit of being a knight, decided to take up archery.
Dr. Wu would
I might
forgive
change
that. Okay,
my
that's
roll
good.
up.
If you
I've
would
been
forgive
knight.
that.
Yesterday I was raider for a little bit. I might be a little
Raider.
bitch for this game.
Oh.
Good morning, incels. No one has a job. I have one to make your mother happy.
Damn.
Lovely bit of Mordhau at 9 AM in the morning.
Damn.
Nothing beats it. Oh, there we go.
He made a hit,
Little 112.
but someone's aiming at
Most
him.
of the time as Archer, you are being a bit of a bitch, to be honest. You kind of sat there, shielded by your teammates.
You are being attacked by your teammates?
Sometimes killed by your teammates. You try make as many fights as you can feel like a two.
Wait, what? I actually have more than 1,000 hours in Skullgirls, so I can't say anything. What is Skullgirls? Is it a Steam game? Skullgirls. I think I saw it, but I thought it's like a dressing game or something. Skullgirls second encore on Steam. This is from 10 years ago. What is this? Am I gonna get copyright striked? Let's go! Oh, it's like a fighting game. Interesting. Wait, there are probably other games like this, right? What is this? Brawlhalla. They are collaborating with freaking Attack. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Then we have the other fighting games. Wait, is this the only one? I'm pretty sure there were more. I remember seeing like Skullgirls 2 or something. But not that one. Another one. Skullgirls. Yeah, look, it's... Wait, no, but it's like a fighting game. Wait, this is the same? Okay, so you like the fighting games. Interesting. Interesting.
V1. But I realized after this third game that I could make a bit
play
of a custom
Brawlhalla?
class, except I didn't have it.
That's the only one that comes to my mind.
Coins to purchase anything remotely useful. I could just equip a bear trap and go around bear trapping people. Firebomb. Perfect.
Firebomb. I like the firebomb.
Oh, there you go. Loot. Don't need
I would
armor.
go in a game only with
Definitely
firebombs.
do not need armor. I then spent the next 2 hours getting bear trap kill after bear trap kill.
Damn.
You know what? I'm just gonna come in. Bear trap right there, right behind me. Killed one.
Damn.
That's incredible.
Wait, it just instantly killed someone?
They're chasing you. They just run straight into the bear trap. Oh, look, he's pissed. He is not happy. Is he on my tail? Oh, yes, he is.
Uh-oh.
Wowzers. Teammate, I need help. Alright, might be
What's with your firebomb? Oh.
Right down there.
Wait, this didn't work.
There you go.
Maybe
Hell
it did.
Easy kill.
Maybe it
Lovely
did.
Stuff. Honestly, I don't even know who my team is. I'm just going to run through here. I think I'm red team. So if I turn around, there's probably a blue guy.
Yeah?
No, see, they don't care. They don't care.
Everyone is attacking everyone.
I got a kill.
Damn.
Someone ran into the bear trap after I died. What I was doing here was being what the community like to call a fake bard. See, it's a real dickhead move if I were to just whip my guitar out and start hitting him.
Damn.
I don't think I need to. A real bard is someone who walks in, doesn't kill, plays some beautiful...
What? Okay, I thought you knew more about me. But you schoolgirls?
Music and generally adds to the game positively. Like this fella. Mate, this is class. I had an interview scheduled for the next day with 3 guys from Charging Knights, a big Mordhau clan. So before that, I decided to join a modded FFA server, which ended up being a brilliant idea. It's like random shit. This guy's naked.
What the hell? What the hell?
I've just been
okay, which is my favorite color? Purple. No, wait, was it green? I think it was green.
Killed by a man I have to censor.
I don't know.
I have a duck maul. Dragon Slayer, that's...
Well, my brain is not fully working today anyway, so it's fine. Because I watched Game Awards. I had like 3 hours of sleep. Close, it was Jade. Okay, close enough.
Sick.
I changed my choice because I remembered, wait, she likes frogs, so it's probably something I want that color. This was my indicator. The frogs.
Oh, you like that parry?
And the cows. But you haven't mentioned any cows lately.
What the fuck?
Damn. Whoa! You got freaking Star Wars.
For every game that's dying, there's a game that's massively on the up. And it only makes sense that the most...
it's an ad. It's a War Thunder app.
In-depth vehicle combat game ever made.
Crazy.
That is now free on
I was thinking about playing this game in VR, but right now we have some VR issues. I don't even know how these issues are happening. Like, it's beyond my understanding. Maybe I should have bought a different VR headset. I don't know. Because when I look for troubleshooting, there are not many people with those issues that I have, you know. So I have to figure out myself what is wrong, and the support is not helping me. Because when I'm writing them, they just tell me the basic thing. Did you restart your VR headset? I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? Are you actually serious? And it always ends with, okay, we submitted to a developer team, and maybe there will be a patch. So it's like, okay, so there's no way I can fix this issue right now. And yeah, it is what it is. Those are the VR issues we are struggling with right now. I'm looking for alternatives, though. I'm looking for alternatives. It just takes time, and then I need to check if it works, and I need time to research. So yeah.
Consoles and mobile devices is one of them. Much like Mordhau, there's a lot of choice in War Thunder. In fact, over 2,500 helicopters, planes, tanks,
I played it a little
bit,
but I was not
that includes
so convinced,
both the
to be
biplanes
honest.
and armored cars of the early 1900s to the modern-day machines of today. All of this you can massively customize using countless camos, historical markings, and the coolest thing, community created
I was trying to play the ship, but it was really weird.
I love a good realistic game, and when it comes to realism and immersion, War Thunder is genuinely next level. The sounds, the graphics, amazing.
Maybe we will give it another
players
shot
playing it
at some
worldwide
point.
will tell you the game is far more than just that. You can support the channel by playing War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices today using my links in the pinned comment.
Damn.
New and returning players on PC and consoles that haven't played in 6 months will receive a huge bonus pack, including numerous premium vehicles, an exclusive vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium. Only for a limited time, so be quick.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh.
What's up, man?
Hello, fellas. How are we doing?
Good.
What's happening?
Nice to meet you.
What is the Mordhau community like?
It's definitely a really cool, like, big group of people, and it's just like a very diverse community, I would say. I mean, we've definitely tried to harness some of the nicer, like, people in the community, I guess, for lack of a better term.
You see the same people every weekend. You see them every day get on dual servers, invasion, comp, whatever it might be. You know, you form these relationships with them. And it doesn't even have to be like as a friend or a buddy or something like that. It's just like, oh, I know that guy. I recognize his armor. You know, he respects me. I respect him.
I can literally recognize like hundreds.
They all have the same armor. What do you mean?
Based on one glance at their like look over the years, because I've been seeing these people. I've been in like hundreds of fights with these people, so it's like, oh, that's so and so.
I did a few more interviews later in the week, and it seemed like everyone I spoke to always gravitated towards the customization. What do you think Mordhau does really well as a game?
The game allows you to do whatever you want. It gives you everything at the first step, and it lets you do what you want to do after that. You're not forced to play a certain way. You don't have to do certain things.
Clans have kind of drifted away from Mordhau. The ones that are here are just here because there's really no better options.
What are you doing?
Kind of feeling. That's
Wait, how long is this game out? Shotto mate kudasai. Mordhau. (2019). That's, let's say 5 years since there was an interview, you know. So okay, 5 times 365 is 1000 days. He has 7200 hours. Wait, I made a mistake. Shouldn't matter. Wait, is this the correct number? Is it he's playing 30 minutes every single day since it was released? Every single day. No time off. Damn, dude.
Another thing about customization has to give praise is the clan scene was able to get very into it, you know, with actual uniforms and whatnot.
Charging Knights and many of the clans just like them do a lot for the Mordhau community just by existing. But the real ingredient to keeping a community alive and connected is events.
Yes, it's definitely more of a helper thing. You know, we've tried to shoutcast the charity events and sort of been like, hey, let's use our whatever influence we have to make sure as many people show up to this as possible. But there's some other really awesome organizations. What is it? The Mordhau Fistfighting League
Championship?
Or something? Yeah, they've been running it every year. And then that's for like cancer and leukemia and like multiple sclerosis research and stuff.
What the heck?
Like a week in advance, we're like, hey, CK people, like let's try to get in there and like let's
show them some love. You know?
Yeah, let's show them some love. Let's come through and turn out your wallet if you can. We have like this really awesome person in our clan named Dutch. Man, everybody loves him. He's like all of our dad pretty much, and he's also a Mordhau mod and just like a super classy guy. And he had he has multiple sclerosis, so this was like really close to our hearts for sure. And we're like, hey, let's come through and like donate. Some people are like, oh, this community is so rowdy, but like the same people that are rowdy and will banter are also the people who will show up and donate and make their voices heard in that way. So
when the Mordhau,
that's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, why do you always feel that you're in the Twilight Zone? In the Twilight Zone? What do you mean? Am I in the Twilight Zone?
Fighting Championship transformed their annual Fisticuffs event into a charity fundraiser. The entire community was recognized in a positive light by PC Gamer, which is pretty huge and very rare for a game like this. Do you think groups are a big part of how healthy the player base still is?
It's
groups
always.
And community organization, I still think is pretty much the pinnacle of player experience that one is going to get from Mordhau. Primarily because it's a common focal point for a lot of players to have some sort of shared experience or desire.
Damn, everyone is just standing around
willingness to
dancing.
play. And I think groups are inherently valuable to Mordhau because they're
like back at
in
school.
this day and age the most essential way Mordhau will keep itself going.
I think CK has lasted so long because we just don't take ourselves that seriously. We're not like, we gotta be as good as possible, and we gotta hammer home these. How do I put this? Waves crash, wind blows. We just let shit happen.
I could go through our list right now, and he's married now. He has another kid. Blah blah blah.
It's like this person moved to another continent. It's like like it's been a really formative 6 years. A lot of people have, people change. I've seen some people that I didn't like too much grow into like really good people, and now they're indispensable. It's just I'm really thankful for this game because it's allowed me to find a group of like really awesome people. And that's what life is all about. Real connections with people and stuff.
After the legends at CK offered up their time, I thought I may as well go around searching for more people to talk to. And that's when I ended up in the Discord for RTA, a roleplay Byzantine clan.
RTA is a Byzantine-themed clan, and we're basically just role-playing as like Byzantines and stuff like that, or to our best of our ability. We're known for our shield wall formation,
those amounts
just
of
like how the
powers
Byzantines
are crazy.
did back then, it's just a group of guys shield walding up, making a huge line of shields up, and we have formations and stuff like that. So
I spoke to 2 RTA members that day, and also Duke Godric, the owner of a different clan called Midlanders. How many hours do you have, just out of interest?
805 hours on
that's fine.
I have 4,302 hours.
Oh boy.
My name is Duke Godric,
Here we go.
previously known as Commander Zeno. I have about 7,000 hours or so in Mordhau. I saw it through the Kickstarter, but I was in elementary when the Kickstarter dropped, so I was like, so I can't get into it. So I watched from the sideline for a few years, and then when launch day came, I was their ground zero.
Again and again, these guys would mention the freedom
He's
Mordhau
playing
gives
since
you, and to be honest,
elementary school.
it's true. But what do you
This
think
is
it does better than
crazy.
other games? Like, what kind of made you stick around?
I feel like what it does is that sense of freedom where you can jump in and really do whatever. The character customization really feels like everyone is unique in their own way and how they
Is this Minecraft music in the background?
fight. So it feels like there's a sense of community.
The customization is so cool.
It's a very good form of community as
It
well.
is Minecraft music in the background.
People are so closely knitted with each other that they'll find each other in public lobbies. Yes, granted that the game has a very small population, but nonetheless, like, you don't see that anymore in games. There's a lot of toxicity, and granted, Mordhau has a lot of toxicity too. But I find that there's a balance between the toxicity and like the wholesomeness and finding like, oh yeah, there's my friend right there on the other team. I can see his outfit. I know that guy.
As this community gets smaller and smaller, it will inevitably become more connected. The same as games like Chivalry 1.
I mean, everybody seems a lot more like connected a bit more because everybody sees each other in servers a lot more often. Yeah, I really see debates happen on chat anymore, which is a bit sad, but the servers are healing. There's no more like extreme toxicity and racism.
What do you think the future for the game might look like?
There's hope in me that returning modders to the game, older modders that were modding back then, like for roleplay servers, it revives the game a little bit, at least by like
they're playing freaking
a few hundred
football.
people maybe. But my realistic vision of the future is the game kind of just continuously dwindling
soccer for the Americans
down, and less and less activity. And honestly, I only think the competitive community are probably going to be the last people playing the game, for whatever reason, probably for tournaments and stuff like that. But I honestly think that's the only thing that's left within the next year or two.
With the devs having gone radio silent, I can safely say that Mordhau's future is looking pretty grim. I don't think it will die overnight. The community is way too dedicated to it at this point to play, to just let it fall apart.
Yeah.
But what I do think is going to
Yeah, he's already showing another game, but I think as well they will probably move to the next game, and then it's will like split, and then pieces by pieces it will crumble. Yeah.
happen is when more better slashers come out, or the bigger and badder ones are ready for launch, I feel like it will fizzle out over time once the players realize that there is other options again.
Yes.
Clans have usually been trying to keep the game going as best they can by hosting like little server battles against each other and trying to get as many new players into them as possible before they get farmed and then make them leave the game. To some degree of success, it worked for a little bit. A lot of more new players were staying. But over the years, when there's it really gets old after a little bit, especially when you're running out of maps to play.
I'd say, even though there's a bias when I say this, I honestly think we're one of the more like relaxed and like genuinely chill people in terms of factions and clans. Honestly, the clan is just full of good-hearted people that only want the best for each other and are really just good people in general. I mean, dude, they're just amazing. It's like a second family online.
I had really gotten to know the people behind Mordhau at this point and the direction the game might be going in. But when it came to playing the game, I was still utter shite. And it was about time I tried changing that. Like, there's a fella playing an instrument.
Yeah, it's
two
some
guys having
better
the time
music.
of their life. Someone occasionally shouting voice lines. Oh, of course it's
You
him.
got an interesting
This
name.
was a super niche server I found at about 2 a.m. It had a few players online, and most of them were crowded up in this tower 1v1ing each other. One of the admins, Duco, somehow recognized that I was new very quickly, and they all crowded around myself and Duco while he taught me something called swing manipulation.
Oh, that's actually cool. They notice you are new, and then they are like, okay, let's teach him a few things.
Next
that's
hour
actually cool.
was spent swinging, moving my mouse towards where I swung, and then being utterly confused as to whether what I did was right or not. Eventually, we kind of agreed. I got the hang of the very basics and understood what it was all about. But something like this takes hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours to master. So I am still, even after 3 hours of training, utter shite. What a legend
really
this
nice.
Duco guy is. What is it? Probably like 5 a.m. for him. What a kind fella. And tell you what, I actually learned a thing or two. I really did. I may have taken a while to understand what he was saying, but once I got there, you know, I got the reason why he was teaching me those things. There is a whole host of hack and slash games releasing in the next couple years, and when they do, it might just be the final nail in that Mordhau coffin. For now though, servers are still running, events are still being hosted, and as long as groups stick around, there will still be a reason for many to keep playing. Overall, Mordhau was a lot of fun. The mods are batshit insane, and the community is pretty amazing, but sadly, the future doesn't look too good.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad. Boundless, 2018, 20 players online. Wait, this is the Minecraft game we saw.
In July 2014, the
Minecraft
Online
game.
announcement trailer hit the IGN YouTube channel. Pretty
Online.
quickly, the game got an audience following all of its development updates. Later that year, the voxel-based MMO sandbox game would hit Steam as early access. And then around a year later, it changed its name to Boundless. After a few years and over 190 different update releases, Boundless came out as a full game on Steam and PS4. Player numbers spiked massively, above 1,000, but that wasn't long lasting. 2020 was one of the last years that Boundless saw a healthy number of updates, and after that, as a result, the player base began to dwindle to what is now a 20-player average at all times, and still dropping. In 2022, the devs of Wonderstruck sold Boundless to Monumental, who
This is a little bit sad. It looks like they put a lot of things into this.
Haven't done a great deal with it. And to learn a bit more, I got talking with one of the figureheads of Boundless's remaining community.
Here, this is like our main area for like our guild, and like there's probably 8 of us or 10 of us that build together, but this is all my area here.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Every block you can put down, they can be chiseled too, so like all these little dents in the ground, that was used by a chisel. Anything you gather in the game you can sell, or you can buy. So like there's these baskets here, that's to buy stuff, so I'm buying certain items, different things you need to like craft all this other stuff. This I've hollowed out and built all this stuff.
Dude, this must have taken an age.
Yeah.
What kind of time frame are we looking
Whoa,
at?
he even dug out. Wait, he even dug out the ground. Look.
What kind of time frame are we looking at?
How much time? I've got like 12,000 hours in this.
What? When did this came out? 2018? This is even worse than Mordhau. Or is it? Wait, no. It's not. It's probably around the same. No. Or? No. Probably like an hour per day or something like that, right?
Same.
It's crazy.
Okay. So how old is this place specifically?
Oh boy, okay.
Probably at least a couple years, 2 to 3 years, and like
he's playing like 5 hours a a day?
We're underneath a mountain right here, so like on the surface, there's also like all these towers. Like I called it the towers of power, right? So like I've got towers all over the place.
Giorgio has played since the beginning, and is one of the most active players still playing Boundless to this day. He kindly offered to show me around the place he calls home. This cave was his original base from the beginning, before he moved to this cave that he now spends most of his time in. Do you know the devs at all? Or like, I guess the old devs?
The old devs, like, yeah, we did talk to, they would like communicate with everyone. They're pretty good. And then like, they all went to work on Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, so
that's quite a big step up, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I know a lot of people were pissed off that they just left this game, but this game wasn't making a ton of money for them, and they did what was best for them, right?
Giorgio is also the leader of the Reaper Guild, one of the most powerful and biggest on Boundless. This is the Reaper
I would be surprised if not.
A bit of a village, a lot of which was built by Giorgio. Like this building here, how long would it take to create?
This probably took a few weeks at least, in voice chat, late nights with like people just having laughs and drinking beers together, you know? So there's a lot of time where we just are standing around and doing nothing.
Do you just freehand it? I know in Minecraft a lot of people, you know, they build it in creative and then come in survival and just kind of copy it.
Is there creative mode?
Yeah, no, this is just all freehand.
Wow.
Crazy.
Fair play.
Some people have made some mini games and stuff like that you can play, and then like if you want to have a tournament, you could.
Right. Does that ever happen?
There has been. When there was more players, it was easier to do, but now that there's like a smaller player base and everyone's been around for a long time, so like.
Wait, this video came out 3 months ago. Boundless Steam shots. Let's see if they had a small spike because of the video. It's still around 20 players. It's still the same. But this was 3 months ago, so September. You can definitely see they had more players. Like a couple players decided to join, then more, and then they left again. But yeah, they... Oh no, wait. It's in decline. Never mind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, never mind. This is not looking good.
Giving out coin as a reward isn't that big of a deal anymore.
How is this place still here? Like, is there no upkeep or totem you have to feed, or is it just permanent?
Oh no, you have, when you place a beacon, there's fuel that you have to put in the beacon, but then you can also pay for Gleam Club, and that fuels your beacons automatically, so you don't have to go around to every beacon you have and fuel it.
Okay, if I was a member of the faction Paradox, would you still appreciate me? But I don't even know what the Paradox is, but probably. I don't mind which side someone is on, to be honest. Survival craft. Yeah, for me, the side that someone is on doesn't matter. If the person is fine, then sure.
Yes, he does some YouTube videos, and he's come up with actually different inventions that he's made. Kind of like what you would do with Redstone, but like Boundless. This is like a light switch that uses liquid, and
damn,
if you're in the corner, you can like kind of jump up, and it's because of the way the block is chiseled. Okay, maybe do the other corner. One of them is for extra high jump, and one of them is...
there you go.
Yeah.
After touring some more of his creations, Giorgio took me to a build that was ever so slightly impressive.
Trier.
So
this is a freaking town? Whoa! Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Who's it by?
Well, this was originally by a player named Blitz, but she quit the game for a while, so she just let it go to whoever wanted to come get it. So someone else came and plotted.
Oh, so someone else owns it now.
Yeah.
And here's another one with an absolutely mental amount of hours poured into it. This one was by Percorus, a player that has left the game like many others because of the lack of updates and generally stale state of events.
Like, it'd take a second to load in maybe, but like, look at this build. It's so insane. I remember the first time I saw this and I was like, I suck at building.
Dude, this is soul destroying. To wrap up, I was introduced to the color system, more specifically the plant color system. 256 colors for each plant. Each color comes from a different planet. Some colors aren't even available, and this person had so many it was worryingly impressive.
So this is her plant storage, which is kind of insane. But again, it's like all the different colors.
Whoa.
So if you look at these storage blocks, she's collecting all these plants that come in all these different colors.
Oh my goodness.
And you have to collect them like for each color. You can't recolor it, right?
No, you can't spray plants.
Wow, all right. This has been fun, man.
Yeah, awesome. It was nice meeting you. And yeah, shoot me a message when you want to do it again.
Yep. Thank you very much, mate.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Yep, have a good one. Bye.
The next day, I met up with a player called Ocfus.
It was like 2020 they decided, or like got hired by Larian to help. They had said like, oh yeah, while we're working on this, we are going to keep updating the game. But they kept stringing along, like saying, "Oh yeah, the update is almost done," for 2 years before they announced they were like selling the game off.
This was a build by one of the original developers, built right next to Ocfus's place. How long's this been here?
2 years, I think. 3 years. It was before the whole like transfer thing.
Yeah, Leah Lemon Cakes.
She is one of the co-owners of Wonderstruck still, I believe, alongside. Was it Jason? I can't remember now.
It's kind of cool. A dev decided to build right next to you. They then took me to a few memorials that had been built by members of the community to honor fellow Boundless players. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Oh, a memorial.
Right.
Okay.
It's very sweet to see people being remembered like this.
What a build.
There used to be a memorial back at the mall she ran, but well, it's despawned in the time's ends.
Aww.
Apparently it was there just a few months ago, but I checked it today and there's nothing left.
What? So what happens? Just the terrain goes back to normal, or?
Yeah, it goes back to what it was before anyone plotted it.
That is such a shame. Another disadvantage of devs not really being here is, like, something like that should be immortalized, kind of, you know?
Yeah, like at least give their accounts like permanent Gleam Club so it doesn't go away. And then there's a few other memorials for other players around here as well.
Jana 55.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could tell you more about them, but I don't know many of them.
Damn.
Well, Boundless players, we know that.
I do know Sixadoo Dad, at least.
What a name.
I used to know them.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, what a shame. Kind of themed as well to Blazing Fire. By this point, I had played about 3 hours of Boundless, and not seen anyone else but the guy I was with, and myself.
Damn.
And then finally, that changed.
Oh!
What a character.
Rembot is here.
Incredible. How would you describe Boundless?
Right now, I would describe it as missed potential, because there's so much you can do with it as a developer and such, and it's just
I like the emoji in the background.
being taken advantage of. Been basically just sitting for 5 years, and I wish more was done with it. It is a bit strange to see such a huge place abandoned.
Yeah.
I hate using the term, but it's kind of like a liminal kind of feeling. Just seeing all these big places that seems like there should be hundreds of people around, and there's like one person sporadically. The fact that a developer is still like interested in doing something with the game makes me hopeful for the future. The early game needs like to be improved before more players will show up. Because I see people come in as new and have never played the game before, and then leave after a day or two because they just get stuck on something. If they bleed the new players, they're never gonna grow a population.
Giorgio and I decided to do one more day exploring, and that started with a giant rocket built by a player named Moon, and then a bunch of Pirate Jim's builds. Jim was actually online at the time, and when we found him, he was using a grapple to float in midair while chiseling this absolutely massive bridge. A lot of the time, this game felt so modded, but it's not. This is all vanilla. Even the hammer that breaks a 3x3 square like those modded to shit Minecraft prison servers. Uncle Jay was another player we came across that day, working on his big old castle live on his Twitch channel. Wow, not a bad view.
Yeah.
The textures he's used make it look so good.
Yeah, it does look crazy.
Oh, yeah, he is streaming right now.
He is?
Wait, what?
What's his like
Uncle J One Up, I think it is, on his Twitch.
Oh, I see him, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh. He's just sitting there.
How old do you think this castle is? He's got to have been working on it for a while now.
Oh, maybe a year.
When did you first start playing Boundless, and how did you find it?
I started October 2018, and my buddy actually, he knew about this game coming out, and he knew I played Minecraft, so he pretty much got me to get the game.
The person I spoke to earlier today has quit and has been in that situation for a while because there's no updates.
Yeah.
So how come you and many others haven't?
Honestly, I just like building this. I could build on Minecraft, but it's not the same as this. It's just, I like hanging out with like my friends that I have met in the game. We'll get in voice chat together, and on the weekend have some beers, and we might have a hunt, and then we'll all go and just hang out for a while afterwards.
Yeah.
Damn. The people are cool.
How many hours roughly do you think you have on this game?
There's over 12,000.
Everyone is having so insane numbers of hours in these games. It's crazy.
I don't play any other game though. That's the thing. Once in a while I'll try another game for a bit, but like, I don't know. I'm not as good as I used to be. When I was young, I was good at video games, but you know, I'm older now and everything's too fucking fast paced for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Vizora.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night.
Take care. Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Crazy.
After all of that passed, I took a portal out of Reaper's headquarters, built a house on a hill, and tried my absolute best to get a hang of this whole chiseling thing. I'm a massive enjoyer of this smart stack system they have, where if an item is the same type, but not the same thing, it goes into this little group and you can carry a bunch of them in one single inventory slot. That is such a good little system. And it's automatic, so you don't have to like manage it at all. It's sometimes really hard to tell like what block you're looking at, and then you just kind of mess up. It's a little bit annoying. And then the block you're aiming at doesn't get destroyed. Like there's quirks like that which make this game a bit annoying to sometimes play.
Uh-oh.
Jesus. Mate, this has given me a newfound respect for all those mental people who created those builds. Like,
yeah,
I'm really struggling here. I'm putting in work and I am messing up at every turn.
What the hell was that?
Oh my goodness, they scared me. Holy shit. Someone's just kind of stumbled upon my base. That's kind of wholesome.
Quirrell.
This looks pretty new. Do they mean it looks shit? Quirrell was a player I had never seen before, but they were nice enough to bring me half an inventory of signs. Mate,
wait, what?
Tell you what, it's coming together. I know it's kind of like a blurb of one wood color and there's nothing much more than that. It's looking a bit abandoned, but it's got character. This is definitely a work in progress, but you know, one day, just like many builds, it'll maybe be finished or possibly destroyed and lost to time.
Damn.
GG's.
The next morning.
Yeah, so if I click B, my claim is basically, well, it wasn't big enough, so half my house and a lot of my chiseling work is, well, kind of gone out the window, to be honest.
Damn.
But I'm assuming it might be the same down here. Yeah.
If I would be a player and I would not understand what is going on, this would be a deal breaker. I would quit this game immediately. This is crazy.
I realized that night that not only is the crafting system massively slow, but the game itself is far more in-depth than I ever thought it was. But the issues were obvious. In my opinion, the UI is dreadful. I mean, I had to Google how to drop items out of my inventory at one point.
Wait,
and
what?
okay, yeah, it might say more about me, but Boundless has problems. A big one being outdated wikis, confusing mechanics, dodgy hitboxes, and definitely the price of the game. It is quirky though.
Well, yeah.
It has its charm.
$20.
And the group of people it's brought together are genuinely awesome. Pretty much all of those people are in the Boundless official Discord, where they also host things like meteor hunts. If you're interested in joining them or have any questions for the very kind people there, I'll leave a link to the Discord in the description.
Okay. Nice. Wrecked. 4 players. What is this one now?
On
is
paper,
it even an
Boundless
RPG?
is closer to dying than Mordhau is, but Wrecked might
It's
just
not
be on
an
the brink
RPG.
of death. By
They
looking
might
at the
have
player
an
charts, you can
RPG,
see
but it's
there
not
is
the
still
kind of
traffic,
RPG
and
we
there
are talking
people
about.
out there that love this game. But a multiplayer game without much of a notable community would usually have
this?
been long shut off by now. So why is Wrecked still running? Hello.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hello. Yeah, nice to meet you too, man. How are you doing?
I'm fine, I'm fine.
I saw, I think it was last year, you were contemplating like announcing that you might cancel the support for the game. What actually happened after that?
Well, there's definitely a bit of cost on still having to keep the data and some networking functions available. At some point, I was like, it's definitely not worth it. Like, never was worth it to have that game out, actually. Definitely not the quality level me and now with the team we could reach nowadays. So I was considering removing multiple of my old games, but there were some people, I don't know how many, some people started mailing me and writing me not to do it. Some were just sad, some were a bit more angry, and I said, okay, maybe leave it there as long as I can literally afford to do that. But right now it's definitely not worth it to keep the game on.
This is Marco, the developer behind Wrecked, and now he and his team create games like Easy Red 2, a bit of a step up from Wrecked. At its core, this is a sandbox vehicle fighter game with basic maps, a cool menu, and peer-to-peer lobbies.
Okay.
There have been no updates in 36 months, but the game still gets reviews almost weekly. 6 years ago, maybe I just elementary school student. At the time, I first downloaded Steam because the hottest game, PUBG. I almost memory that I just have a computer with... Oh wow. This PC can't run PUBG, that's obvious, so I have to explore the Steam store to find some games that my PC can running it. I don't remember when I find this game, but I always remember the feeling I had when I play this game for the first time. So cool and so beautiful.
Nice.
I didn't sleep that night. I almost play this game all the night.
Damn.
Some days ago, I play this game again, but I can't find enemy and teammates. Maybe this game is dying with my childhood.
Damn.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible.
I feel bad for him.
A week after I discovered the game, I booted up a stream for the first time in 2 years.
Oh.
And together with about 50 of you, we filled up the lobbies.
Damn.
What the fuck is that game? Alright. Essentially, you make very silly, random looking cars with guns on them.
Fun.
And you go around slapping each other with bullets until I think you capture some kind of flag. I'm not too sure.
Damn. But he's dead.
You are pathetic. How are you gonna let that happen to you?
Oh, what was that?
What on earth?
Damn.
Unlucky, mate. The cars moved okay. The shooting was a bit dodgy, and the bullets made my ears ring for a few days after. But overall, it had its charm. I could see why people come back to it every now and again.
Okay.
Wait, you can zoom, yeah. Excuse me. I've just been straddled. Didn't realize I was watching an Unk streamer. Mods, ban the word Unk.
Unk? What is Unk?
Did you have to do that?
Yes.
Okay, the collision is something special.
It looks fun.
It is something special.
But the issue is probably the player base, right? There are not enough players.
Oh no. You're going bye-bye. Ram into him. Well in, well in.
Damn.
And this fella behind me. Oh no, where's my team?
Oh, but he just died.
Wait, relax, you've killed him. Why are we losing 3,000 to 400? That is not a good look. This is probably the most players this game has seen in like half a decade, if I'm being honest. Probably since the release. I can't remember, but it's a long, long time. By the 40-minute mark, everyone else had discovered the whole putting armor on your car and spamming guns everywhere. So fights became a bit awkward for me. Take them out.
Yeah, the people realized why they need armor.
Oh my.
Hello, Ryu. Hello, Ghostface.
He's
how are you doing? Bom dia.
How's he not dead though?
Oh,
I'm speechless. You have an unstuck button. Why? Okay, why is everyone just helping me?
Whoa. He's flying.
That might be the best unstuck button I've ever seen.
Damn.
A few of the guys that played along with me on Steam had a few thoughts to say about the game, and all of them were pretty fair. Cars are kind of slow. It feels like you have to stop and shoot, which leaves you an easy target. Yeah, fair point. The graphics are right if that's what they're going for. This guy said 10 out of 10 top quality. There's like no tutorial and no options menu. You can turn the graphics on and off. That's about it. It's like a student project that emulates World of Tanks without any quality of life stuff.
Damn.
Yeah, that pretty much is what it is. But I like it.
Yeah, it has
a free game.
It has something to it.
It's janky, but it shows the journey that Marco went on. And he said himself that he considered getting rid of the game off Steam purely because it doesn't represent their current abilities as a development team. I have to ask, where did you get the idea of Wrecked from?
But just getting used to speed ones again. Speed ones? What are you speedrunning?
Gave me idea, I think, at least as
are you
far
watching
as I remember.
speedrunners?
You know, maybe some game that actually pushed me into a bit of that direction was maybe games like World of Tanks, where you have to
we see where the inspiration is coming from.
Arcade-ish way, one team of tanks against another team and capturing areas and stuff like that. The idea of the gameplay definitely came from that, but I wanted the tanks itself, in that case the vehicles, to be
Mike Tyson Punch Out,
quite sandbox to a degree.
Wait, like real life
at first, because
speed ones?
It doesn't really hold your hand, but once we got used to it and we all started customizing our cars and shit, it was like actually awesome.
I'm very glad to hear.
Or is it the
game was like super prototype, like it was done in I think 4 months, 6 months, something like that, and then it was like, okay, so this is the kind of public I can get with a game like this, and then I just skip to the next one.
Can I ask, like, how much does it cost to keep it running?
So it's a game.
Not too much.
Damn.
It's probably like
you got a NES?
50
That's
euro
crazy.
That's still like a chunk of money, though.
Or are you using an emulator?
That's what I was considering to. Yeah, I mean, let's remove it. Who's gonna play? But yeah, again, in the end, don't feel too happy to remove something that people are still playing. Thank you a lot, Rie.
Yeah, good to speak to you, man.
He's a cool guy, Marco.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
I'm planning another event just like this one, where we all join an almost dead game to bring some life to it for possibly one last time. You can join my Discord if that sounds fun. Again, big thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring the video, and to support the channel you can play it using my links in the pinned comment. War Thunder is free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile devices, and there's a huge bonus pack for new and returning players alike. Available only for a limited time.
Is this World of Tanks ad right now?
I want to give a big thanks to the channel members that have joined recently. It's another way to support the channel and get access to a Discord chat channel exclusive only to members if you're interested in that for whatever reason.
You
for
can
now,
use
I'm
API
going to
for
go
that
back to playing
nowadays.
abandoned, forgotten about, and straight terrible Steam games. If you have any games that should be in a video, send them to me on Twitter or in my Discord. And maybe subscribe.
Thank you for the video. This was a good one from Y Games. It was also the last one for today, the last video. But yeah, I think we got a good overview about dying games. And I actually thought they are dying, the RPGs, but it's not looking as bad. When I chose the title, I was also more thinking about the generality of, things are repetitive. It's like you play the same game again for the fourth or fifth time, and at some point you will be like, okay, maybe I should not get this game, and then that's the moment where people jump out of the genre and go somewhere else. like me. But yeah, thinking about it now, there has been some good RPGs like Clair Obscur. With the new Witcher is coming up. The game I showed you, the Divinity or whatever, seems also like a interesting game. So there are some titles we are excited about, but will they be good? That's the other question. But yeah, let's see. I definitely think though that the free-to-play RPG titles, they are probably on the low. I'm pretty sure they are on the low. They are probably not. They are probably more repetitive, but that's most of the games I play. They usually free-to-play. Yeah. Summoning Salt has the record in 2025. Wait, what? Summoning what? Summoning. Oh wait, it's here. Wait, what is that? Oh, it's a channel. How a perfect speedrun was finally beaten. Ah, okay, he's doing the speedrun videos. Okay. Naruhodo. Oh wait, this is the game, no? Mike Tyson. Shouldn't matter.
Single punch.
Is this the game?
Was a perfect
Yeah.
Tyson fight. It was the first time it had ever been performed.
Damn. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, for today, I have to call it a day. Especially because I will be waking up early tomorrow. So yeah. Maybe we can check out speedrun videos next week. Actually, this is not such a bad idea. I still have some videos on my list. Wait, what is next week? Next week is the 19th. Maybe. But yeah. For now, that's it. And I will probably do a few more things. And then I'm gonna head, most likely, to the bed. So yeah, I mean, it's almost 11 p.m. here after all. So yeah. Okay, then with that being said, thanks for watching. Tomorrow there will be no stream. Tomorrow I will be touching some grass. And on Sunday we have a collab. We will play Are We There Yet with 2 other people. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, I'll see you. Bye bye.